Most wanted seat. Yeah. I don't really think so.
Good evening. It is 6:32 p.m., and I would like to call the May 18th, 2022 regular board meeting of the Niles-Maine District Library Board to order. Margaret, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Derblick,
Here.
Trustee Schoenfeld. Here. Trustee Makula,
Here.
Trustee Rosansky.
Here.
Trustee Olson,
Here.
Trustee Keene.
Here.
Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I will reiterate the rules for our board meetings. As board president and presiding officer, it is my responsibility to preserve and maintain decorum at all times during official meetings of the library board.
Orders of the day.
As such, this board will not tolerate outbursts and interruptions during our meetings. I am asking that each member of the public respect that and to conduct yourself accordingly. If, on the other hand, you do interfere with the orderly conduct of the meeting or you persist in disorderly, disruptive conduct, I will have you removed from the meeting. Public participation and comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of the agenda consistent with the library rules. Remarks shall be made from the speaker's podium only. Abusive and profane comments will not be permitted and will promptly be ruled out of order. If you persist, you will no longer be allowed to speak. The board vests in me as the board president the authority to terminate the remarks of speakers who fail to adhere to the rules. Individuals addressing the board must at all times adhere to the library policies and other rules as may be necessary for the efficient and orderly conduct of the meeting. All public comments shall be addressed to the board as a whole, and no comments shall be addressed to individual members of the board, library staff, or other members of the public body. Policy 3.27, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. Cindy, would you please call the first person for public comment? The time is 6:35.
Elliot Osherman.
Pull the mask down just to make sure you can hear me. Prince of Darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk to you again. That's Elliot Osherman of the Committee Against the Retention of the Three Snoozes. All of my public comments have been given to you ahead of time. All my public comments tonight are addressed to the entirety of the board. As in the past, I will start with 9 declarative sentences. I will neither be interrupted nor silenced, nor will we, nor will the community. I will remember this, as will we, as will the community. I will vote on April 4th, 2023, against the retention of the three snoozes, as will we, as will the community. My comments tonight are in two parts. The first is as advice columnist. The second is to define new business per the Open Meetings Act and the Roberts Rules of Order, and how it is to be treated. Elaboration on my comments from last month's public comments and Friday night's public comments. First, as advice columnist. Satchel Paige, the baseball player, once said, "Don't look back. They may be gaining on you." You, collective you, might remember the Frankenstein movie of the 1930s. The community realizes there's a monster in their midst. The townfolk gather pitchforks and torches in an effort to get their monster out of town. Don't look back. Second, as advice columnist. Someone once told me, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." You might remember the Peanuts cartoon, where Lucy holds the football, waits for Charlie Brown to kick it. She pulls the football away. Charlie Brown falls to the ground and lands on his backside. Da-da. We are surprised the first time we hear this and see this. We understand what she is going to do the subsequent times. We have our own version of Lucy and Charlie Brown. In May, our Lucy Derblick submitted a temporary hiring freeze. Charlie Community tried to get it removed. In August, Lucy asked for clarification of staff time and usage of resources. Didn't like the answer she got, would not remove the freeze. Charlie Community falls on his backside. Dudum. And same stunt in September with similar October results. Dudum. And on and on. Charlie Community gets fooled every time. Same actions with our missing 7th trustee. Lucy proposes, board rejects. Wait till next month. That sound is Charlie falling on the ground again. Dudum. Then again with the tax levy. 3 options: raised by 1%, level, or reduced by 18%. Raised by 1% defeated by a 3-3 vote. Level defeated by a 3-3 vote. Reduced by 18% defeated by a 3-3 vote. Lucy Durbuck declared, if you don't pass that last motion for a reduction, we won't submit any levy. In other words, Charlie Community, I'll take my ball and go home. Adam, where's our 7th trustee? Earlier in the year, the Attorney General advised that the board needed a replacement forthwith. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe if we're lucky, it'll happen tonight. That's the sound of Charlie Brown hitting the ground again. Now the legislature stepped in and said, if you don't agree on one soon, we'll have the state librarian impose one. Lucy Durbuck's reaction, you can't do that to us. We should have someone representing the community's choice on the board. Since October's special meeting, she and the other 2 Duzes have been rejecting qualified candidates and then had the nerve to try to get a special election for that. That's the sound of Charlie hitting the ground yet again. Listen carefully, board. That sound you hear, da-dum, da-dum, dum-dum, is not the shark from Jaws. It's not even Charlie Brown falling again on his backside. That's the sound of the community gathering their pitchforks and torches. On a different note, I've been told by the executive director that items not listed on the agenda can't be discussed. That's because the Open Meetings Act overrides Robert's Rules of Order, which I mentioned last time, obligates the presiding officer to ask if there's any new business. I went to the Open Meetings Act, and it deals with new business in 2 ways. The first starts, the requirement of a regular meeting agenda shall not preclude the consideration of items not specifically set forth in the agenda. But the second part continues, the agenda preparation requirement does not preclude the consideration of items not specifically set forth in the agenda, but a public entity may not vote on a matter not on the agenda. How can we reconcile these 2 details? Simply, the presiding officer must, she's obligated to, ask for any other new business for consideration. Let's say that the ladies' restroom on the 3rd floor needs painting. Trustee A makes a motion to paint the restroom Niles-West red. Motion seconded by Trustee B. Discussion ensues. Trustee C likes red. Motion considered by Trustee D, which said she likes Niles North purple. So does Trustee E. So does Trustee F. But it's not on the agenda. I started with the poll. Simon
Thank
Lyric.
you for
I'm
your
gonna finish
public
with the
comments.
Nat King Cole there. Straighten up and file it right. Oh, by the
Time.
way, we want
Thank you
Umair.
for your public comment.
Thank you. Good night.
Kathy Toy.
Kathy Toy. This is a prelude to the double payment scenario. I FOIA'd the attorney bills last month and noticed what I believe to be a double payment. Now to the scenario. Here's how this scenario played out for the paid bills at the April 22nd, 2022 meeting. Carolyn approved the attorney bills, not looking at them very closely, thus creating a double payment. Joe and Suzanne signed the checks, approving a double payment. I quote Joe. Joe said, "We don't willy-nilly sign checks." Well, this time you did and approved a double payment of $6,120. I don't consider this very fiscally responsible on the part of Carolyn, Joe, and Suzanne. Becky brought this up at the meeting and was totally ignored. Joe McCullough and Suzanne Schoenfeld are more concerned about a correct invoice number, which in my opinion is minuscule because some bills come without an invoice number. I've never seen pure evil until I started going to these board meetings last May. The 3 of you refused to see the destruction you have caused the library and its past and current employees. I heard at the last meeting that employees are not able to take time off because of the staff shortage. Not granting requests for time off is unconscionable and I believe against the law. I hope one of the employees files a lawsuit with the National Labor Relations Board. Also, as stated in the Journal and Topics article, the employees are exhausted covering 2 or more positions. I believe you 3 should direct all your time and energy toward lifting the temporary definition, short period, not 12 months, hiring freeze that you implemented in May 2021. That freeze has seen 30% of the staff leave and not be replaced. You have created very unhealthy working conditions at the library. The employees cannot continue to spread so thin before they break. You will not compromise on an applicant to fill the vacant trustee position since Olivia resigned in August of 2021. A bill was introduced to the Illinois legislature because of your inability to appoint an applicant to the vacancy. Now, you are scrambling, trying to figure out how to circumvent the Secretary of State from filling the vacancy. You 3 are the sorriest examples of library trustees that I have ever seen. Suzanne, you claimed in your candidacy speech that you loved the library. I have never seen love turn into 30% of the staff resigning because of the working conditions that you have created, you, Carolyn, and Joe have created. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Lynch.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Lynch. My pronouns are she, her. At last week's board meeting, Joe McCullough argued that the Niles-Maine District Library was responsible for the collapse of Blockbuster Video. This is so clearly false that every time I've told someone that he actually said this out loud, they laugh. The fact that Joe McCullough is so misinformed about technology, business, and library services is worrisome enough. That he had clearly already been informed of the truth by the director and still repeated this false claim is even more troubling. But to me, the most important piece of this lie is what it reveals about Joe McCullough's values and intentions. The concern here is not for his community or his neighbors or the public services he has been entrusted to protect. Instead, he is concerned that the wealthiest CEOs of global corporations might lose a buck. Libraries exist to support literacy, civic engagement, and lifelong learning. They do not exist to make the rich richer. And this is not a new idea from Joe McCullough. He made similar comments earlier this year about replacing library services with Amazon. His budget notes from last year included proposals like making veterans pay for their own breakfast and an event honoring their service. Shameful. Replacing children's librarians with recorded videos, and cutting off services to daycares, schools, and nursing homes. He has been consistent in his calls for cuts to services to seniors and children, and cuts to staff, books, and programs. But it's not that he has a problem spending money. From hiring an additional overpriced lawyer, to expensive consultants that duplicate the work of librarians, to paying his campaign videographer with taxpayer money. He's made his priorities clear. He doesn't mind spending public money if it's in private interests. And he's found support from Carolyn Derblick and Suzanne Schoenfeld. When their expensive consultant misrepresented facts, was corrected by more knowledgeable staff, and walked out on the job, Carolyn Derblick blamed community members and called it, quote, verbal violence to criticize him. They continue to waste public funds by sending all FOIA requests and press inquiries to their lawyer instead of qualified staff. They too have voted consistently for cuts to the fundamental services of libraries while funneling money to the private sector. This attack on public services is the opposite of what the community wants and deserves. Here is a basic principle that is controversial to everyone, except apparently Joe McCullough Carolyn Derblick and Suzanne Schoenfeld. Public money should be spent on public services. Thank you.
Thank you.
David Sutherland.
Hello, my name is David Sutherland. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm an organizer with Niles Coalition, and we have a Save Niles Library campaign that people could join us at savenileslibrary.org. And you know, last year we spent a lot of time doing a lot of work. We're organizing, man. We're organizing. We got a lot of folks. We're building capacity. We did a lot of like foundational work last year, and this year's been pretty good because the chickens are coming to roost, right? So you all got an email from me probably earlier today, and this is great because more of this stuff is coming, more wins are coming. We're seeing policy being written. We have politicians coming, you know, and like standing here, and you know, this is great. So I got a letter from the Illinois Attorney General yesterday, so I want to share it with a bit of this with y'all. This is the result of a public access council review, PAC review they call them, for a bunch of FOIAs we submitted last year, which you guys just don't want to, to give us documents for, so you're not being transparent like you say you claim to be. So this is like for PAC 70344, PAC 70349, PAC 70357, PAC 70358, and this is only a little bit of the PACs coming. So this is a consolidated determination from the Attorney General, and the salient part of this 3 or 4 page PDF determination that they sent you all that you have to now provide is that on May 18th, this is what they said, on May 18th, 2021, Mr. Yassel sent an email to the board president's personal email with a proposal that indicated it was from Yissel Missile Productions and to Niles-Maine District Library. Even though the email conveying the proposal was sent to the board president's personal email address, it did not copy a quorum of board members. It was clearly prepared for the library. The board president received the communication because of her role as a board, and it was to be absurd to conclude that the transmittal email was not a public record solely because the board president could not act alone in approving the proposal. The argument made by your lawyer was that, you know, you got to have a quorum of people on the email address, so you provide, it was goofy, and the state's attorney was like, yeah, that's a bunch of garbage, you know. So further, it is reasonable to conclude that any preliminary communications with individual trustees and other documents prepared for and used by the board are public records subject to FOIA regardless of how they're transmitted. This office requests the library asks trustees to perform additional searches of their personal email accounts and devices for already, so basically, you know, provide those records. So hope to get those soon. Your lawyer should have that letter, should have communicated that with you. You know, it's a duty of Carolyn Derblick as a president to prioritize the needs of the library and this board, and she has the ability to install a 7th board member. The missing vacancy, the board, you know, that we had like almost for a year, it's ridiculous that this board is not acting as a full board. You can't be making decisions without 7 people here. So Carolyn Derblick has, the president, you can do this, right? You can do it right now. Do an executive meeting, put aside your agenda because your responsibility is as president first. I don't care about this nonsense about, you know, what you are and whatever. Like, you have to get a board member on this board. That's your responsibility, your main responsibility, and you're showing that you are neglecting your duties. So I just want to talk about that FOIA stuff. That was great. I just had a great week for that. So anyway, I also want to make a comment by my wife, Renee Sutherland. She's not able to attend tonight's meeting, but she asked that I ask the following questions, which I will ask here. Number 1, does the law office client Thorpe and Jenkins represent only the best interest of Carolyn Derblick, or do they represent the best interest of all Niles-Maine District Library? We heard in a previous meeting that Dennis Walsh wouldn't share information that he shared with Ms. Derblick with all the trustees, that each trustee has to contact him individually and pay him to answer each trustee individually, which is getting awfully expensive and unnecessary. We've seen Mallory Maluzzi waste many, many hours defending Carolyn Derblick, Suzanne Schoenfeld, and Joe McCullough in defensible FOIA violations. How does that serve the public? And number 2, when will you allow the director to properly staff the library? And number 3, why hasn't there been a ban? Why has there been a ban on staffing on our library for a year? Number 4, why is there no agenda item about your hiring freeze on tonight's agenda, especially when you are considering 3 of the remaining staff on a trip to DC during the summer when the rest of the staff will somehow have to make all the other programming work? Number 5, why won't you schedule board meetings in the boardroom
Time.
instead of the
Thank you for your comments.
Save Niles Library?
Roberto Botello.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roberto Botello. I stand here before you to share with you that I am in support of strong libraries. And what I mean by a strong library is a library that's properly staffed. Seeing that this library is going in the opposite direction, I urge you to take the necessary steps to hire adequately to maintain the hours of operation here. And also to share a conversation that I had with a fellow neighbor in that I expressed to them that I take time to attend meetings like this because it hurts me to know that our community's library is degrading in the sense that the services are being reduced. So this particular neighbor is surprised that the trustees are not taking adequate efforts to be able to maintain the library services. So I wanted to share that with you because this person could not come here. They have child responsibilities, but I thought it was important that the board understand that decisions that are being made here have negative impacts on families that rely on these services. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
James, S-U-H.
I'm sorry, Cindy, could you repeat that?
James and then S-U-H.
Hi, good evening
Thank
to the board and to the public listening. My name is James Ha. I am a tax-paying resident here in this community and been a member of this community since I moved here at 11 years of age sometime in the 90s. I wanted to respond to something interesting I heard from last month's meeting in response to the recent bill passed where the Secretary of State would directly appoint a trustee to fill in any vacancies unfilled due to the respective board's inability to fill it. Joe Makula there to the left, or to the right, my right, opposed it, was against it, saying that the Secretary of State was not qualified, saying that he'd probably get his advice from cronies and friends here. Do we recall this? It's a cliche statement, but I wanted to remind you guys and the public listening that the reality is right there. I want to remind you guys that a year ago, right when you guys got sworn in, Joe, Suzanne, and Carolyn, one of the first things you did was you hired your own friend and crony to an open-ended contract against the protest of your colleagues to the left here and to the public behind us and watching online. The corruption is glaring. The hypocrisy is glaring. The nerve of you to say that publicly last month. It is so infuriating because I've been following this for the past year and I'm like everyone behind me that the cameras can't capture. Admittedly, I'm not the most active library user, just a single working professional. I have no children to take the kids here to, but I recognize the value this library provides in all libraries. I'm a byproduct of one. Growing up, I didn't have much, and the library was one of the public institutions that my family relied on, and I'm eternally grateful for that. We think about community and how it takes a village to raise a child. And when I look back and, whatever success I've had personally, it's not due to my hard work. Small part of it is, but I fully recognize and appreciate the circumstances I was in. And a large part of that is the public institutions like the library. So it is in that spirit that I'm here, 20 to 30 years later. I am a property tax-paying resident here, that I want to carry on that spirit. I want to make sure that my neighbors, the children, the veterans, the seniors, are respected accordingly. And when I hear about this new board come in, slashing the budget blindly in pursuit of some ideology where they don't believe in public institutions, it's infuriating. So, I mean, I agree with a lot of the people or a lot of the comments that were made before me. That Blockbuster comment, Joe, was a real fucking hoot. My apologies.
Please refrain from
I
profanity.
apologize.
Thanks.
I didn't attack anyone.
Yeah, it is a
I understand.
library.
I just want to conclude by saying that I sent an email last week to each of you. I heard from them. I didn't hear from you three. But I think it bears repeating in light of everything going on. Investing in public institutions like the library is an investment into the community. The rate of return is not reflected in property taxes, but in the raising of future readers, thinkers, and leaders. The marginalized feeling welcomed and given a chance, and an overall vibrant community. But instead, Carolyn, Joe, and Suzanne, it's as if you're managing a private business blindly focused on the bottom line to appease a shareholding minority, instead of being stewards of the library in service of the community at large. Do the right thing, end quote. So I'll just repeat it again. Do the right thing. And if you, honestly, it's been a year. It's been 1 year of this expletive, right? It warrants a step back and to reflect on everything that's happened. And if you're frustrated, imagine how the workers feel. And you just can't find any answers. Just, I don't know, take a look in the mirror, and I think you'll see some of the problems. And if you just can't find the courage to do the right thing, I'll just say that there is grace in resignation. There is grace in resignation. Thank you.
Time.
Thank you.
So there's enough time for one more speaker. That's Megan Roberts Esterling.
Hi, I'm Megan Roberts Esterling. I'm a taxpayer in Niles. I'm a teacher in Northbrook. My husband's an attorney. We moved here in 2017. We initially were looking in Glenview and Northbrook and Park Ridge. But Niles really, we were looking at things like walkability, schools, proximity to the city, parks, and of course libraries. Niles really seemed to offer the best of all of those things. I live in John Quill Terrace. And it's been really nice over the last several years to see Niles working to raise its profile around the city of Chicago with its whole campaign with the heart, Love Niles. I've noticed the mayor on WTTW touting all the benefits of living here and trying to make Niles into a destination, seemingly trying to turn it into a Northbrook, Glenview, Park Ridge destination for families in the suburbs. But really, to be honest, without the library, it's not a destination. And decimating the library doesn't really gel with that vision, to be honest, for families like mine. And I'm just gonna be honest, we're an upper middle class family. And if that's what you seemingly are, you're trying to shut out families that maybe don't fit that, it doesn't even make any sense. Putting aside the fact that you are completely shutting out families who may not have tons of means. So I can't really, and I've really tried hard to understand your logic, and I can't, because you're shutting me out, but then you're shutting everybody else out too. So I actually do want to know, and this is not a rhetorical question. I'd like an answer, and I will give you my phone number and email. how does defunding the library help anyone? Who does it serve? Whose agenda is this? I can't even like make heads or tails of it, like I said. It doesn't serve me, and it doesn't serve others. And when I really think about motivations for inaction, when I think about when I'm struggling to make a choice, it's when I'm scared. And so the only reason I can really deduce for you not appointing someone to the vacancy is that you're scared. There's another reason, and you know, that's unprofessional, okay? Soup's unprofesh, this. And I also will say this, your whole like disclaimer at the beginning about rules and decorum, I find very rich, because your behavior in public, I'd love to know what you're writing down too. Your
I'm
whole
taking
behavior,
notes because I
Please.
find some of the things you say very important.
your behavior in public has been beyond decorum, so far beyond politeness. Finally, you know, I've noticed there's a lot of redactions in the billing. And you're claiming attorney-client privilege. Attorney-client privilege exists to protect the client, which is you. You can waive attorney-client privilege at any time. I know my husband will be at the next meeting to address this. As I mentioned, he's an attorney. But I do want you to think about that. You can waive that privilege at any time. It's the client's privilege. So those excessive redactions, again, what are they concealing? Is it some sort of fear? You know, so bottom line, I love the library. I'd like to see it fully staffed and funded for my child and for all of the kiddos who live around here. So please do your duty, what you were elected for.
Excuse me, Miss Esterling, can I just ask you to email the library board so we have your email address with your comments? I know I have a couple of them, and then you'll get a response. Thank you.
We would like to hear that response.
So there's 30 seconds left for public comments. I don't know if Mr. Steve Sanders wants to say something for 30 seconds. Okay.
Is he the last one?
Yeah.
Can we make sure his name gets into the meeting minutes, please? Or maybe the president wants to reconsider. There's
next
only one
item-
person left. I'm sure we could find time for him.
The next item on the agenda,
I guess we can't.
our public comments policy is 30 minutes.
That's what I thought. So you're
Can be
refusing.
extended if you so desire.
Right.
With respect,
Remember, you're the president.
There's only one more person. There's not 5.
our next item on the agenda is approval of minutes.
Just tired of hearing things bad
At
about
this
ourselves.
time, I would like to read, or with respect to the trustees, I would like to read the rules that govern the proceedings of the board. As you know, the
Point of
rules
order. You
of
say
parliamentary
these
practice
comments and they're
comprise-
not on the agenda. They should be
In
on the
Robert's
agenda.
Rules of Order govern the proceedings of the board.
Oh, she said it.
There are certain rules contained within Robert's Rules with respect to decorum. By reminding you of the rules, I hope it will
Call for
lead
orders of the day.
to a more civil and productive debate, which is one of the most important concepts underlying parliamentary procedure. Robert's Rule Number 7, debate states speakers must address their remarks to the presiding officer, be courteous in their language and deportment, and avoid all personalities, never alluding to the officers or other members by name, where possible to avoid it, nor to the motives of the member. Additionally, Robert's Rules of Order Number 43, decorum is in debate, states in debate a member must confine himself to the question before the assembly and avoid personalities. All the trustees should refrain from disturbing the assembly, and you should encourage others to do so. The application of Robert's Rules is the best method to enable the Board of Trustees, with due regard for every member's opinion, to arrive at the general will on the maximum number of questions of varying complexity in a minimum amount of time, and under all kinds of internal climate ranging from total harmony to hardened or impassioned division of opinion. Thank you for your cooperation. Item 5 on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 19th, 2022 regular board meeting?
So motion.
moved.
Take whoever you want first.
I need a second.
Then it's me.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now we can have discussion. These are on the January 19th, 2022 minutes. Trustee Makula, any comments?
I'm fine with it.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No comment.
Trustee Rosansky?
No comment.
Trustee Olson?
Nothing.
Trustee Keene?
These minutes will never pass until you remove your ridiculous essay. So no.
Excuse me,
No, that's my
No, it's
comment.
not
That's
a
her comment.
discussion. It's just her comment,
So no.
not a
That's her
discussion.
comment. She has a right to that.
that's fine, I
comment.
was moving on, but go ahead, is there more?
Move
No.
on.
Thank you. Cindy, did you have anything to add?
Well, I did go back looking for the example of the minutes that Carolyn refers to where President Spadoni's comments are inserted, okay? So I do have this. This is January 15th of 2020, and so I have a copy for each of you. I didn't get it out to you earlier. But President Spadoni provided the board with his suggestions for the board meeting approval process. After reviewing the process, the board agreed to his suggested changes, and then they're listed here. So since this time, the minute approval process has changed, but this is just an example of inserting a president's comments. So just in an effort to maybe move the ball forward. Passing these out.
Thank you for that explanation, Cindy.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no further comments, Margaret, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
What do we
Trustee
vote?
Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rosansky?
No.
Trustee Olson?
Wait, I think you're supposed to tell me what we're voting on. What's the motion?
To
I mean,
pass the January
Well, I know,
19th.
but you're supposed to say it before the vote
I
starts.
did.
And clarify it.
I
Okay.
did. Do you want me to repeat it? I'll be more than glad to do that.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 19th, 2022 regular board meeting?
So moved.
And Patty seconded.
Yes, I
No.
did.
All right, no.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Keene?
No.
3-3, fails.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 20th, 2022 regular board meeting?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Thank you.
Suzanne, that was you? Yes. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. We may now have discussion. Trustee Makula.
Yes, I have an objection here on page 1, where it says, due to time limit, one person signed up for public comment but was not able to speak. We're adding something here that didn't happen. This needs to be removed, the sentence.
What page are you on?
He's on page 1. Is it under public comments, this statement that you're telling us?
Yes.
Due
Yes.
to time limit. See this?
One
I
person
actually asked
signed-
for that to be included in the minutes.
Okay.
Well, that did happen. What do you mean it didn't happen?
The time expired.
Yes. And that's
So the
basically
meeting
what it
moved-
says.
The meeting moved on.
Several months ago, I asked for for that to be noted in the minutes and to also have the names of the people noted. So I was going to ask for that person's name to be added instead of removing this whole line tonight.
Anything further, Joe? Are you finished?
It wasn't part of the meeting. The meeting moved on.
Okay, Trustee Schoenfeld, any comments on these minutes? No comment. Trustee Rodan?
The only thing I have a comment on is the same thing I have a comment, and I usually haven't been saying it lately, is the fact that our president has been making her statement during, and that it's not on the agenda, but it sure winds up on the minutes that she made it. Now, we had requested this simple statement that, you know, one person wasn't allowed because time ran out, 2 people were not allowed, just to show how many residents wished to talk. I personally have no problem with that. But then again, so what? It doesn't matter what I think, apparently. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trustee Olson.
I think it's fine the way it is.
Thank you, Trustee Keene.
The only change I was going to request, and I was going to request it for future, so as not to hold up these minutes, is to make sure we do have on the minutes how many people were not allowed to speak, and their names should be included in the future, please. One thing I did see that was very interesting in the minutes on page 8, the very last line, Ms. Rademacher stated that this meeting schedule is subject to Sikich being able to meet these dates. I guess that could be read in 2 ways, meaning that they would be able to get the work done in time for these dates. But the way I read it was meaning that they would be able to meet on those dates, and then they just never were scheduled to meet us. So I thought that was really interesting that we actually talked about that, and then they didn't get scheduled to come to the meetings. But I am happy to pass these minutes today.
So it was that they could get the work done.
Oh, okay.
In that short order, not to attend every meeting.
Okay.
But he is coming on the
Right.
25th.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Okay, I just had one thing to add. On page 8, under trustees' reports, for some reason it doesn't list the president's report, which is usually something I read, which is separate from the trustees' report and their participation at the library. I would like us to separate that, like we have in the past. It's usually president's report separated, just like treasurer's report. Then there's a trustees listing of everyone's participation in library activities. So if we could just do that in the future, or correct this to read that same way as well, that would be great.
Mike, I have a question.
Please, go ahead.
My question is, do you want your president report put in these minutes?
Yes, actually, I do.
Then I vote no right now.
Thank you. All right, if there aren't any other comments, we could, Margaret, could you please call the roll?
So the way the minutes work is that people bring up things they want changed. We go back and review the video. And if it's in there, the change is made.
Right.
Okay? So it doesn't work so well, about taking things out, because who was not able to speak, I'm sure was commented on at last month's meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will stay. And then,
And add their name, please.
so we'll have to go back and see if that,
Or in the future.
You did, because
Or
I
in the-
asked. I remember that I
Okay,
asked, and it's
okay.
in there somewhere.
all right. And then the next thing is to separate, so it says on page 8, trustee reports, and then it says President Derblick. So you want the trustee report title to go down above trustee Rosansky instead of above your name.
No,
Is that-
because she did do a trustee report, didn't you, Carolyn?
At the end, I was the last person. I
But
made a
she
comment.
also did a president's report.
So they're separate. The president's report is separate from.
Is the president report in here?
It's
No, but I can provide it so she doesn't have
Well,
to
you can watch the
read
video.
it all. You can do both.
So again, the minutes are not verbatim,
No,
right?
they're
It's a
not.
summary, so that you made a president's report and the content, subject of that report, not the verbatim report.
Exactly.
It's not that it's not verbatim, but in the past, president's reports were not verbatim. They were indicated in the minutes specifically. So I think we should follow precedent like under President Spadoni. And the president's report did mention more than just one sentence. So I mean, I would prefer that it just be included like president's reports have been included in the past.
Well, then,
So under the minutes I
Okay,
passed out
January.
from 2020,
Mhm.
on the second page, it has trustee reports.
Mhm.
It does not list, it has the secretary's report because there was a report for the secretary. And it has the treasurer's report, and then it just says the trustees reported. So there isn't a separate precedence. I mean, I don't think there's a longstanding precedent for,
What there is a long standing for, anything spoken by the president in the past was included in the minutes. So those are the examples we probably need to share with everyone. And as well as if he gave a president's report. But the president in the past has spoken about issues in the library or the library community, and they were in the minutes. So all I'm saying is it's been done in the past, and I'm asking that my president's report be separated from the trustees' report and just included.
and summarized.
Well, it doesn't need to be summarized, it's not that long. It should be, the president's comments in the past were never summarized. They were verbatim.
no.
I can submit copies, I've had them here in
And
the
that's
past.
wonderful, Carolyn. It truly is. However, I do not feel comfortable voting on minutes unless we see what's in the minutes. So I request that we put this until next meeting when we can actually read what the heck she wants put in the minutes.
Okay, well, actually, according to.
I don't care according to anything. I refuse to vote for it.
According to the procedures, to revise minutes, if something was excluded, but the video indicates that it was in the meeting, it is then included in the minutes.
But then we vote on what is put in there. If we do not see what is put in there, we are at fault for not knowing what you're having us put in there. So all I'm saying is I want to see what I'm voting for before I vote for it.
Fine?
This is something you could have emailed Cindy ahead of the meeting, and we just wasted 10 minutes talking about.
Exactly.
Excuse me, but you are out of order. If you could refrain from those
No,
comments.
thank
We have a
you.
nice, calm meeting. I'd
I'm
like to
calm.
keep it that way.
I'm
It's
calm.
just causing all
So if you
this
just vote no,
animosity.
it'll come back to the next meeting.
Yes, thank you. Because I'm not going to vote if I don't know what she's having us put in there.
Next on the agenda, number 6, is payment of the bills.
Did we vote?
Sorry.
We do have to
We have
vote.
to vote.
We're not, what are we
We
voting
didn't
on?
vote, we did not vote on the minutes
approve
for
it.
April 20th.
We're
this is
not
just
putting it off
approving
until
it.
next month.
You're revising them. You should probably show that there was no vote taken until they can be revised.
Well, I don't know, that's not the procedure.
Well, what are we voting on?
We already moved on it, so we have to take a vote on
Yeah,
it.
Or
you
we can
moved
take
and
it back.
seconded, and then you're going to vote on the minutes. They're
So
not
we're-
going to pass, and then they're going to come back next month,
Okay, fine.
right?
So we're going to vote for the minutes to fail, and then they're going to come back next month? Okay.
Well, that's what
Well,
the
that's what's
motion was.
January, that's what's happening with January. You can't agree on the minutes, so they just keep coming back.
I know, but we just had a lengthy discussion about the process. It's fine. To move on, I'm fine with it. Okay, Margaret, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Derblick?
Yes, with the requested changes.
No.
Not a vote.
You-
No.
You
that's-
can't vote like that.
you ha-
We're-
What
So what are
is
we
it?
voting
Are
on?
we voting to table it until next month?
That's why I say you have to say what
The move was to
move
approve it.
is
Right. Okay,
Movement was
Joe
to
says
approve the minutes.
it's
He's right.
moved to approve it.
He's right,
Okay,
So
the
it's
main
fine.
motion.
okay.
So my vote is no.
Trustee Schoenfeld? No. Trustee Makula?
No.
Trustee
No.
Rozalski? Trustee Olson?
No.
Trustee Keating?
Yes.
Move to approve the minutes?
For 5 noes, 1 yes, and it
Okay,
fails.
thank you. The next item on the agenda is payment of the bills. Do I have a motion to approve operating expenses of $227,960.57, payroll expenses of $235,359.93 for a total monthly expense of $463,320.50?
So moved.
Thank you. Okay, we have a moving in a second. At this time, I will call trustees for comments. Trustee Makula.
No comments at this time.
Trustee Schoenfeld. No comments. Trustee Rosansky.
No comment.
Thank you. Trustee Olson.
Is this the time that we talk, have questions about the check detail and?
Isn't that
Yes.
usually treasurer?
Now?
I thought it was usually treasurer's
Yeah,
report when we
that's
talk,
what I
ask
Well,
questions.
we're approving payments. So under payments would be,
Under payments would be any check detail, because this
Yes,
is where you're
thank you.
approving the payment of the checks. So which item are you referring to?
Okay.
See, and I was under the assumption that was under Part D that
In
we
the
do
past,
the
that's what
treasurer's
we've
report.
done. So,
I'm sorry, Trustee Olson, did you have a question? Did anyone, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
okay, so we include check detail at this time, is what you're saying?
Yes, because you're approving the payment of the checks, which is the $227,960.
Okay, on page 2 of 7, which is page 11, I just would like to know what 80739 check is. Building consulting, what is that for?
Thank you for asking that one, because that's one I was going to question.
So this is a check to Dave Dabrowski for assisting with his expertise in the interview process for the facilities maintenance applicants, and also for helping with the preparation of the budget for maintenance. Rich had to do IT and maintenance, and so this was bringing in some expertise
Okay,
to
thank you.
facilitate that.
That answers my question. And I have another question on page 15. Check number 80777. The sickage payment, I understand this is for a 3-month period. So exactly what were the things that were done during that 3-month period? Because that does not include his budget
No.
contribution, so.
I believe at that time they were changing the procedure that Greg was using somewhat and instituting new procedures, I believe.
So when they're talking about starting in December, they're talking about the bank reconciliations. Because the December statements come in January. Greg was already gone, so there was no reconciliation of the December bank statements.
Okay,
So by the time Laura got here, she was doing December and January and February. She was doing the 3 bank reconciliations, the first visit that she came here. And then she was also doing the February financials.
And I have a question. Were you asking Joe your question, or were you asking Cindy?
whoever could answer it.
Okay.
Okay, is that all? That, okay. And, let's see, bank register report. Is this the time that we ask questions about that? Since it seems to be, we're changing procedure here.
Yes, usually that's all done during treasurer's
That's
report.
under treasurer's report.
That, okay. See you later. That's fine.
Thank you. All right, trustee Keane?
Same question as last month. Are there any checks that are unsigned?
No.
Okay. No other questions?
Okay, next on the agenda,
So we're going to vote on that?
oh, sorry, I'm in such a hurry, sorry, I apologize.
So we're voting to approve the operating expenses, payroll expenses, and monthly expenses.
So I already read the motion. I think, Margaret, if you could please call the roll.
Trustee Derbelik?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keane?
Yes.
6-0 passes.
All right, the next item on the agenda, number 7, is trustees' reports. The first one is the president's report. I would just like to give a clarification. I'm gathering that some of you are aware that at last month's board meeting, there were some outside interest groups and organizations who picketed at the library entrance. These individuals were carrying signs that actually falsely accused the library of taking food for kids, from kids. For the record, I would like to correct these false statements. Regarding the summer lunch program, the library did not cancel the lunch program. The library has been in the process of obtaining the specific 2022 details and guidelines for hosting the summer lunch program. On May 5th, 2022, the library submitted their application for the summer lunch program. And I would just like the community to be aware that the library does plan on having the summer lunch program. And I would encourage anyone seeking excuse me, stop interrupting. I would like to encourage anyone seeking the, any answers about the library to contact the executive director, Cindy Rademacher, who could assure everyone of receiving the correct information. But thank you, and I just wanted to make sure that that was clarified. Together, I believe we can ensure a viable and welcoming library in our community by working together. So next would be
We
the
will not have
trustees'
that
report.
verbatim.
And trustee Makula, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, trustee Makula,
No comment.
trustee Schoenfeld, trustee Rozansky.
Yes, I do have comments. Thank you for asking. The new art display, the large-scale art display that's on the 3rd floor is absolutely beautiful. I suggest everybody go up and check it out. Nitwits went very well. I went twice to use the equipment in Creative Studios this month. The librarians are extremely helpful, as much as they can be, being so short-handed. How lucky we are to have the Creative Studio. The people on the 2nd floor had handed out Mother's Day bags with thoughtful little gifts in there like tea and so on. Very nice. What a thoughtful thing for them to do. May craft for people to take from then again downstairs was an origami lotus flower. Can't wait to make it. The children's department had cut out faces with different eyes, noses, mouths, or the kids can just do whatever they want to show different expressions, and they hung them up down there for Mental Health Awareness Month. Really cool idea. I really enjoyed seeing how creative some of the children were. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Olson.
Yes, this month I tuned into a Zoom interview with author Janelle Brown. It was hosted by our very own Adult Services Supervisor, Mary Kay Stiff. Mary Kay led the discussion with the author by posing pertinent questions. She was both conversational and very charming. So thank you to Mary Kay. Thank you to the library for providing this kind of quality programming for our community. That's all.
Thank you. Trustee Keene.
Yes, in response to your comments on the summer lunch program. It was really well on its way to not coming into existence this year until the word got out to the press and to the public that it was in jeopardy. And that's when the library reacted. So no, it wasn't always a sure thing to happen. And what you said is really misleading, and I don't agree with it at all. And it's
I'm sorry
offensive.
you disagree
It's my
with it.
turn, thank you.
But isn't this?
It's my turn.
Say no
I believe
discussion.
this
No.
comment should be.
You
should
have
be
to wait
coming
till
from
it's
the
your
No,
turn.
it's-
It's
not
my
you.
turn.
No
Excuse me,
discussion.
it's
You got your
her turn
turn,
to
now it's
talk.
my turn.
You don't let us
can
interfere with
speak
what
too.
you're saying.
Don't interrupt
Thank you.
her.
So, that's my opinion, and opinions
Oh,
are,
okay, thank you for clarifying.
I'm not talking
I
to
appreciate
you.
it.
I'm not asking you for
Thank you.
comments. Your turn's over.
Okay?
I'm just dragging it out now.
Thank you for that.
Her
I'm not done
statement, the president's statement was opinion as well.
Yeah, so that's how things work. You get a turn, and then you let someone else have a turn, and then you don't get another turn because you're done. On a positive note, I would honor to thank all the supervisors and staff who worked so hard to get the budget ready last week and sat here and let us ask you questions when you were visibly exhausted and not happy. So thank you for that. I did also enjoy the Mother's Take-Home Kit, especially the shortbread, and Famished for Fiction at Culver was a huge success. My son was very happy and had a great time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Keene. Trustee McCullough, Treasurer's Report, please.
Okay. April is the 10th month of our budget year. At the close of the month, we had $14,193,535 in cash and investments. We received $266,225 in revenue, mostly from property taxes. Salaries for April were $242,607, and employee benefits were $53,730, for a total of $296,337. $67,530 was spent on library materials in April. So far this budget year, we have purchased $525,795 in materials. Operating expenses for April were $43,770. General and administrative expense was $12,109. Utility costs for the month were $8,704. Building and equipment maintenance was $10,601. Total expenditures for April were $457,624. So far in this budget year, we have spent $4,722,134.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Trustee Olson, did you mention you had questions for the,
Aren't we going down the order because maybe some of us also have questions?
Trustee Schoenfeld? Trustee Rosansky?
Yes. I didn't see any bills for legal, but I did still see that we are at 283% of what was budgeted. Thank you.
Trustee Olson, please.
Well, just to continue with that line of legal fees, can you explain, Joe, what does it, can you explain the 6120 again, if you did it all? 6120 in parentheses?
I can explain that. That is the voided check that was pulled after Becky mentioned that it was a duplicate.
That was the
Check.
check that wasn't signed willy-nilly, but was, over $6,000.
Oh, okay. Where did you hide all the bills for the legal fees?
That the legal bills were not approved, so they're not included here.
What do you mean
Legal
they were not
fees come
approved?
sporadically, they don't bill every month, they bill
Well,
sometimes.
they have in the past.
They have been.
We have legal bills, they've not been approved, so they're not included for payment.
Okay. Just, it's a question about that, but let's see.
And does that mean that they weren't approved by the two people who signed them? Because we didn't know anything about them.
No, the checks were never cut, so they would be in here if the checks were cut, but the checks were
Okay,
not cut because
thank
they
you.
haven't gotten
Thank
that
you
far.
for explaining that.
Let's see, page 22 and 23. I'm just looking at the actual percentage of annual budget. What is library supplies? Can you explain that line? With only 1% in parentheses, annual budget.
Yes,
That means
as we're going through the budgeting process, we're realizing that some things have been allocated differently than they're normally budgeted, so we're making some corrections as we go along. So,
Okay.
so there was a credit to library supplies, and I would have to go back specifically and see what that was, but it was moved into a different account, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the 7% for programming and support for events. And that means this year we've only spent 7% of the total budget.
Yes, so yes, I think
And
Sasha described that.
so like what kind, you mean a big, huge event? That's what this is for? What specifically is this line for?
So this was Winterpalooza, which didn't happen because of the COVID rates in December. And Sasha's actually here, right? Yes. Can you just remind me what the other event was that did not happen? Oh yeah, Maker Fest.
Okay.
And the final event that would come out of this budget is summer reading kickoff, which is June 3rd. So we are working on that right now, so you will see those, on the top register or whatever later.
Okay, but the 4th of July is not in this category?
Under the promotional budget, it's considered like community engagement.
It's different, okay. All right, thank you.
Trustee King?
No questions.
All right, I just wanted to make one comment to clarify the legal fees. As we discussed when the budget ordinance was being prepared, it was brought to our attention that our regular budget was too low for the anticipated legal fees that we would endure now that we have unionized. And since we were unfamiliar with what the expectation would be, it was recommended that we include $250,000 to cover the additional legal fees that we would acquire. So for $250,000 in the budget, but since we weren't sure and it was an estimate, the amount was put into appropriations so we would not fail to go over our budget amount since we added monies into the appropriations. So while, when you look at these numbers, you could claim that we're over budgeted, we actually, if you look at the appropriations is $500,000 more than it needs to be with the $40,000 budget. With
No
the
matter how many
40,000
times you say that,
with
it
the
still is not
40,000
right.
Excuse me. With a $40,000
Who are you
budget,
talking
your
to? Because we've heard
appropriations
this like
should
13
be
times.
$80,000. If you look at the ordinance, the appropriations is $580,000 with an amount of $250,000 estimated for anticipated legal fees. So we did plan, we did put money into the budget for that purpose.
On the very last day that you could. And the union is only here because of you.
The next item on the agenda is Director's Report. Cindy, would you like to take it away?
The library statistics, the monthly program list, and the library highlights are included. If anyone has any questions, I will be happy to answer the questions. I do not have any prepared remarks. The agenda and the board packet is pretty much my director's report.
Trustee Makula, do you have any comments?
No
questions?
comment on it.
Trustee Schoenfeld. Trustee Kozansky.
I was impressed by a lot of the stuff you had in there. Thank you.
Trustee Olson.
Yes, I noticed more than 20 pages, delightful reading and delightful programs and activities that you had. Kudos to all involved.
Thank you.
Is this the time for the monthly statistical report? Just a short comment on that. It was really significant that library services, and these don't have page numbers, so I can't direct you where to find that.
It's the second page of the statistics. Library services at the top there, where it's,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, those have an astounding number for percent of change.
So
Okay.
last year, we weren't able to offer some of those because of COVID. So that's why there are zeros there last year in some of those.
Okay, well, that's excellent. And then also on the next page, programs for youth and family audiences. All your red numbers indicate important
In person,
in person.
yes, because
Yeah.
we were, it's sort of being able to bring back in-person programming, so we're tracking it separately to
Yeah.
be able to see.
The numbers are really going up for that, too. It's very impressive. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Trustee Keene.
A little bit, yes. Just to be clear, Cindy, you choose what goes in here, right? You're not told what has to go into this report or what can't go into it, right?
Well, the agenda sometimes is changed, if that's what you mean. But as far as the statistics and the programming and the highlights, there were no changes.
Okay. A couple things that popped out at me this month were, it was nice to read about what kind of programs the patrons are asking for that we aren't able to provide because we don't have the staff to do it. That was helpful to me. I was sorry to learn that Coming Together is going to be ending after 12 years. That's really sad. But I'm glad that we're going to try and continue to do what we can at the library in our own way. I wanted to congratulate Karen and Outreach on delivering so many books to the schools last month. And I thought the art installation upstairs was stunning as well. And every month when I go through this report, I am surprised to see programs that I didn't know about and really would have liked to attend it, but they weren't in the mailer, so I didn't know about them, and so I missed out on the Fairy Garden and the Eco-Friendly Bound Book and the TikTok program, and that is a shame. That's it.
Yes. Sasha, do you remember what percentage gets into the newsletter? You have that, don't you? Of the programs? Or that don't get in?
From this current fiscal year, 227 programs did not make it in the
Print.
Right. That's a real shame.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sasha.
Can I just ask a couple questions about that? I believe the plan was to put the in-person programs in the newsletter and to have the online programs online. But I have one question. Since there were programs not in the newsletter, are you not able to go on the library website and see all of the programs?
Well, to answer your first part,
Mhm.
I think those were conversations, so nothing ever got stamped.
I'm sorry?
Nothing ever got solidified that the print newsletter was just going to be in person. It sounds familiar what you said, but I think it was just conversations that happened.
Well, actually, no, it was a suggestion because we couldn't fit everything. So my recommendation
Suggestion is
was
not a
the
policy.
newsletter should contain the in-person programs because we sort of think that a lot of seniors or people who aren't using the website would have the opportunity to see those programs, and then the online and all the programs would be on the website. So that's what we were trying to accomplish. And then we were talking about,
But your
the
suggestion
cover.
doesn't mandate
Yeah,
things.
your suggestion
And then-
it wasn't a mandate.
well, that's fine. If
And
we
it
don't,
wasn't voted on either.
if we don't
Go ahead
want,
and finish.
if we want to print the newsletter and want it to serve the public the best way it can, then we should not ignore suggestions. But if
Like
that's how
our
you look at it,
suggestions.
Yeah, our
go right ahead,
suggestions are
you know?
ignored.
So,
If I may say, I think my rapport with the whole board is I listened and I try to put into action, what gets discussed. And I truly, truly, truly believe that your statement about the virtual was, I don't remember who I heard it from. I can't even say that I heard it directly from you. I mean, I can't remember right now. So it's not that suggestions, you know what I mean, that I don't care about the suggestions. or
oh,
I'm
no,
not
absolutely
mindful
not,
of
I
them.
know.
But, I mean, I would love to have a deeper conversation about that suggestion, to see if it makes the most sense for us. I want to say the first thing that nobody is ignoring anything. But like I said, I just felt like it was kind of in passing and we didn't talk more deeper on that kind of philosophy. Is probably what I would say. Now for the second part, so what we decided for this current fiscal year is that we're going to do 4 newsletters, 8 pages each, but that newsletter gets turned into an online newsletter where it does have all the programs. And that's different from the online calendar where people go to see like a calendar view where they register and so forth. So we are doing that. But I think what I'm trying to say in my budget narrative is no matter which way you cut it, you're just not going to be able to fit what our current offerings are in 8 pages. I mean, you could take a white space here, a white space there, but I think on average it was between 50 and 60 programs per newsletter. And I want to clarify, I was counting program entries. So if Second Sunday Special had something in March, April, May, I wasn't even fluffing the numbers. I just counted one. So that means there's actually more if you're going to count every single program. Does that make sense? So like book discussions, if we have 8 book discussions, I'm counting that as 1 in my 227 total missing programs. So if you want to go deeper, there's even more programs than that.
So are you saying if there's a book offering, or a book club, and it's offered 5 times, then you're saying that 5 programs didn't make the newsletter, instead of 1 program that's available 5 days?
In my number, because I didn't want it to sound like I was fluffing numbers, so book discussion, I counted as 1 in that 227. But really in the book discussion, there might be 5 or 6 that happen in the newsletter cycle. So there's actually more if you really go deeper, more than 227.
Oh, that,
So Second Sunday Special was a big program. It happens every single month. I counted that as 1
Right.
in the 227.
Well, I can
not
understand
6.
that. I can understand that. Okay.
So
Well,
my
thank you.
suggestion is, I'm not asking
did have one, oh, yes. Trustee Keene, you were finished, correct? Okay, so
Yeah, I
just
got
have-
one turn and I'm finished.
Okay, I just have one question. On page 38, Cindy, it's regarding passport service. The terminology, execution fees, $6,860. Now, does execution mean the amount of money we collect for the state, or is that, how is that defined?
So that is the money that the library is able to keep for executing the passport.
So so that's our portion of it, and then in addition, there's an amount that's sent to the state.
Yes, with each
Oh.
passport.
All right, so this is ours. All right, thank you. I wasn't sure about that. All right, thank you so much for that. Okay, the next item on the agenda is number 9, new business. Do I have a motion to discuss Ordinance 22-01, setting the schedule of meetings of the Board of Trustees of the Niles-Maine District Library for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023.
So motion.
Second.
Thank you. So I have a Pete, a Patty, and a
Diane.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I will call the, so we have the schedule, and I guess I'll call each trustee and see if you have a comment on it. Trustee McCullough?
What
It's-
page is that? Do you know offhand?
49.
49? Okay, I just want to make sure we're looking at it.
It's consistent with the third Wednesday of each month, so. I'm
I
fine.
didn't ask that, Joe. I asked what page. Thank you very
Oh, I'm
much.
sorry. Well, I thought she was asking me for comment.
Yeah, Mr. McCullough is making his comment.
Okay, fine.
So, all right, thank you. Is there anything else, Joe?
That's it. I'm fine with it.
Okay, trustee Schoenfeld? No comment. Trustee Rosansky?
The dates are fine with me.
Trustee Olson?
They're fine.
Trustee Keene?
No comment.
Okay. So now that we've discussed it, Cindy, I guess the next step is you would like to prepare for a motion for next month? Was that the thought process here?
Well, if
I think we
everybody-
need to vote on that.
If, yeah,
It's a discussion.
it's a discussion.
It's not an approval. No vote.
There is no vote on this?
No, it's
Well,
only
it's just a discussion.
Okay.
I thought the conversation was you weren't sure.
Well,
if
everybody
there
would
may
have a
been changes.
chance to check their calendars rather
Sure.
than just being surprised by it in the board
Sure.
packet, so, I don't know.
So then are you fine with,
Putting it on for next month, yes.
thank you.
So like sometimes in December, it moves close to the holiday, so I didn't know if anybody wanted to move.
It's
I
not
understand.
that
Okay.
close. It's still enough, far
Okay.
enough away.
Oh, yeah, it'll come back as a motion next month.
All right, thank you. The next item on the agenda is 9B. Move the Library Board of Trustees approve the recommended negotiated renewal of the healthcare insurance plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield beginning on July 1, 2022 and ending on June 30, 2023.
So Catherine Looney is here this evening to answer any questions that you might have so that I do not make a wrong comment.
Or are we
Okay,
gonna?
So will you be presenting this document or explaining it to us?
I will answer any questions. What you have in your meeting packet is showing what our current premiums are.
Okay, we're looking at 9B, correct? It's called the Niles-Maine District Library Health Insurance Summary.
The first document that you're seeing is actually the grandfathered status.
Mm-hmm.
What page is that?
Could you
It looks like
identify the
this.
document?
Yes.
Thank you.
And what we wanted to start with is just showing that we are a grandfathered plan, so we continue to be grandfathered. And so in order to stay grandfathered, if you recall last year, we did that 5% change. If we were to make any other changes with contribution levels, we would lose our grandfathered status.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first. We will have to complete that again this year with the recommendation that we stay under the same plan provisions.
And then we will complete this and submit it to Blue Cross when approved. The next page is showing the actual current to renewal to then negotiated renewal. When we received the renewal, we had a 22.76 renewal amount percent increase. Of our cases within your population size, we've seen everything from decreases to 50% rate increases this year. But when we got the renewal, I went through, I worked with Blue Cross, we looked over some of the claimant activity, things of that nature, and just talked through the renewal and asked if there was any rate concessions that we could have for within the library. And they were willing to bring it down without any plan changes. And so that's where you'll see our increase was 58.68. I do want to point out that each coverage tier, single, single plus spouse, single plus child or children and family, have their own individual rate differences, but collectively premium over premium from month to month would be that 15% increase. I was going to ask you guys if you can recall the number of rate adjustments we've had over the last 5 years. Can anybody recall them? Because every plan that I work with over the years, we have adjustments. And at the library, I went back and in 2018, we had a 3.1% decrease. In 2019, we had a 1.97% decrease. In 2020, we did have a 5% increase. And then in 2021, we had a 4.04 decrease. So we've had decreases over decreases, and we've become complacent and actually appreciating all the decreases that we've had. But this year, we did incur a 15% increase. We do have several claimants, so we are collectively reviewed underwriting-wise as a group in the Chicagoland area based on your program that you offer and things of that nature. But then, in addition to that, they do look at your own trend and utilization. So that's where our 15 came up.
Did you say you dropped some claimants?
No, we did not drop claimants.
What did you say about the claimants?
We've had increased claim activity.
Oh, okay.
Can I just ask for clarification? So it doesn't matter what tier of coverage, everyone's insurance is going up 15% this year?
No, each coverage tier may be modified individually. Like a single would go up maybe 15%. I think I looked at it.
I know, I'm trying to understand where that is. That's my major question is, what are our employees looking at for 22, 23? And I'm looking at a sheet, I'm not sure I'm understanding it.
That's the percentage of paid.
Do we know how much the insurance policy is going up in total?
Yes, that is what you're seeing from 464,906 up to 537,791. But that is based on the number of employees that are enrolled.
Right.
And that's, yeah, so it's, the premiums will remain the same, the 109, what you see in this negotiated renewal, but based on how people enroll, that 537,791 may be modified. And it modifies month over month because it's based on enrollment month over month.
By number of people?
So then my
Number
question
of
is,
people?
The number of people, when you look at your sheet, you can see it was based on the 26 single coverage,
Okay.
4 employee plus spouse, 1 employee plus child or children, and then 2 family.
Mhm.
And so if everyone elected that same, and you had those same enrollments for the 12-month period, then you would come up with that number, but we know
Okay.
that's unrealistic.
so at this point, comparing the 537, I think you said 791 to last year's number, what is the increase for the insurance policy?
15.68%,
Okay.
which is that number below the 537,791.
I heard you say 58.6, and I was like, where did that come from? So I must have misunderstood you. So the increase on the total policy, and of course it fluctuates, is 15.68%. All right, I just wanted to get a handle on that. Thank you. interject, but I was getting lost, and I thought before you went any further, let me clarify. So, I'm sorry, did you have other information to share? I'm sorry, I didn't want to.
No, you'll see that the vision, there was no change in those rates, the premium that's being charged. And then in the second page, it's short-term disability, and then the long-term disability was no change in premium. We did talk with the carrier about the short-term disability, but there were claimants, therefore your activity actually increases those. There was an option, which I thought could help, is the disability carrier came back and said, well, if you add life back in, group life insurance for the people. And so Cindy and I talked through that, but the premium that was being charged for the life insurance was greater than what our increase was for the disability. So we said, thanks, but no thanks.
No thanks.
We'll leave it the way it is because the life insurance is coming through IMRF.
Mhm.
We also looked at several different options to try and
Sure.
manage those dollars, but that's
Thank you.
without moving out of the grandfathered status. That's where we landed.
Should I go around? Trustee McCullough, did you have any questions about this?
No, I think with the marketplace today, I think we're doing okay.
Trustee Schoenfeld, no comment. Trustee Rosansky.
So in order to keep this grandfathered, you're saying our rates are going to go up a little bit?
Yes.
Okay,
However,
yes.
we also looked at options to go out of the grandfathered status and they'd go up higher. So
Well,
you have a
usually
choice.
Usually when you go out of a grandfather status, it does. So, thank you.
Yeah. We did look, and that was an increased price tag, as much as I don't like saying that word. It was an increased premium, but it also was an increased exposure to the employees. They had a higher out-of-pocket than what we currently have.
So what you're
It
proposing
was a
here,
lose-lose.
what you're proposing here is an increase to the library itself and not to the employees?
No, there will be an increase to both the library and to employees based on the 15% of the total premium, that 1,091. Employees pay 15% of that, as well as the coverage tiers. It's the difference between the coverage tier minus single and then 30% of that amount. And when all the premiums go up, everybody shares in the increased cost.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that.
Trustee Olson?
So this is another explanation of the same
Yes,
information.
that's just illustrating what their amount is, what their percentage is.
Okay.
The bottom
I'm
part.
just curious about the word negotiated. Who did that? You and?
The one class that I took at the University of Iowa is Theories of Argument, and it comes in very helpful when I work with insurance companies. So we
Okay.
look at what's the exposure. Help me explain why we've had 4 years of rate decreases or stabilization, and now we have. But we all know that people weren't seeking treatment for a period of time as well. So that explains part of why we had some rate decreases during COVID. People weren't seeking treatment. People are back going to the doctor again, and we are seeing that uptick of actual claim experience.
So this is the best deal we can get.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Thank you.
Because that's after the concessions that you asked for and received.
When I looked at it over the 5-year span, if we want to look at it that way, it's been about a 2% rate increase. So it's been very modest when we look at the 5-year span of the number of decreases.
None of those people don't.
But nobody remembers a decrease. That's
No.
why I wanted to bring it up and make sure we've had decreases. We've been able to benefit from those decreases, but yes, we do have the increase this year.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
And may I ask just one other question? How many employees, at least last year or this current year, are enrolled in our health insurance?
If you'll look at the column under HSA in the grade area,
Yes.
26 employees, 4 employee plus spouse, 1 employee plus child or children, and 2 families. And that is a snapshot in time which would have been in the month of May, I believe, is when the underwriting actually took place, because we received it then.
So the total is 33.
Mhm.
Okay, and then, of course, vision varies depending, it's different because of who opts in for the tool.
Correct.
All right, thank you, I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the right number. I have no other questions, does anyone else?
No, thank
No
you.
other questions? Okay, Margaret, would you please call the roll?
Who moved on this motion?
Nobody, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, nobody
Never-
moved on it?
No, it's never done the right way.
Didn't I just?
No.
No.
No,
I didn't
you
read it,
didn't.
oh, my apologies. How did we get this far? Do I have a motion to approve the grandfathered?
Oh, wait, what's B?
9B.
It's 9B, okay. Okay, wait a minute, I am really.
Yeah, I don't know why you have B and C.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the recommended negotiated renewal of the healthcare insurance plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield beginning on July 1, 2022 and ending on June 30th, 2023?
So moved.
We have a movement and a second. We've already discussed it. Sorry about that. Margaret, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rosansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keane?
Yes.
6-0 passes.
So can I ask what does C have to do with this?
So this is the way it was done on last year's agenda. It was separated to first approve the recommended negotiated renewal and then to approve the employee and employer contributions. That's the way it was done last year.
And it was done that way last year because if you'll recall, we had conversations of whether we should modify, which we did, then move to, it used to be 10% employee
Yes,
contribution.
and we
then-
increased
And
the
that's
em-
why it was separated.
Yeah, but it was
But it was
increased the
to
percentage
15%.
that the employees paid last
Correct.
year.
Correct.
However, we're not increasing their percentage, so it's an unnecessary line item, isn't it?
And that's what Cindy and I were talking about after looking at it. It was done in this fashion last year, but it was for a reason, and
Yes,
it's
it
not
was.
necessary. It's all rolled into one.
So I
Okay.
move to remove.
Yes. Can we
9C.
remove item C?
You can do that.
Cindy, what would be the benefit of having this agenda item?
So if you're looking at this paper here, right, so you have here the different levels and the premium is an annual premium, correct?
The premiums that are listed there are monthly
These
premiums.
are monthly premiums. Well, what it would help, actually, is to actually have the amount that the employee is going to be paying, which is on this paper, you know, so that it's perfectly clear, because it's actually taken me months to actually sort through all of this and figure it out.
So what page
So,
or item or?
looking
She's
at
looking at this,
10C, I'm looking at
Okay.
this, doesn't have a
this here
page
stuff.
number.
It's the long
Thank
sheet,
you.
right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
sheet.
The green one?
So if you take this employee, so under the green where it says negotiated renewal,
Yes.
the 2022-23, in the fourth column, the monthly premium is $1,091.60, okay? And then, so the employee with that coverage level is paying 15%, and their per payroll expense is $82.12, okay? And that is up, the top row is what they're currently paying. They're currently paying $71.50. So just to be perfectly because it was confusing last year for many people. Okay, so that is the employee. Then if you go to the employee spouse, which is the next one down, the premium is $2,283.65. And so if you remember Catherine saying, it's the employee and the spouse. For the employee portion, it's 15%. For the spouse portion of that premium, it's 30%. So you average it together, and they end up paying 23%. You see? So you can't really find the 30% anywhere because it is blended with the 15% that is just the employee portion. So I wanted to clarify for the staff and the board and administration what the actual dollar amounts are going to be out of people's paychecks and talk it through so there's no confusion.
And that's very nice, Cindy, and I appreciate it. And we've got it in black, white, and green. However, to me, the important question, especially with us being in union negotiations, is technically the employee percentage isn't going up. Everybody's the library, and we're all going up, but it's not the percentage. It's the percentage of the whole bill
Correct.
is
And-
staying the same.
And I think everything is staying the same as it was.
Yes.
The difference is spelling it out, like Cindy and I were talking about, where it's really not 30%. It's always been said 15/30. When this went up, it's 15/30 on the form. But what it is, it's the difference of, so you have to take the employee plus spouse minus the employee, and that portion gets 30%. So that's where the discrepancies, I think, in the past, because
Well, the documentation said
Correct.
one thing, and then we saw these.
this is very clearly
yes.
stated out that this is
Thank
what
you.
the change will be.
So
So
then,
thank you,
Cindy-
Cindy.
So then again, since the percentage of the employees is not technically changing,
Right.
The
Is it
contribution rate, that's more-
is it necessary for us to have letter C?
It's not necessary for you to vote on it because it's not changing.
That's the whole point.
Wanted
It's
to
not
be
changing,
sure it was
you know.
clear.
What if we amended it to change the price tag from 15% to, say, 10%? Then we would have to vote on it, right? So maybe I make an amendment stating I move to approve the grandfather 10% price tags being charged to staff. Then what?
There aren't any 10% price tags being charged to staff.
I understand what you're trying to do,
So I don't know, is that,
but we have
is it legal to go back?
our expert here, you have this, is looking in, trying to figure out how to answer it.
According
The
to
numbers-
the actual
you're not the
according to the
expert, thank you.
grandfathered statement that we have to sign, is that the cost of any tier of coverage cannot decrease, the employee's portion.
Okay.
The employer's portion cannot decrease more than 5, and that would not be decreasing more than 5, so I would think that it would be allowed.
So we could do that.
Every year, we have to fill out this paper, which we put in the meeting packet. We have to complete it, we submit it, and then we pray that they're going to accept it and continue to allow us to be grandfathered. They do come back and say, there was one year when we submitted it, and they said it's not going to pass and stay grandfathered. So we had the ability to modify it, but that's the terminology that they say is the employer's portion, contribution rate, toward the cost of any tier of coverage cannot decrease more than 5%. And that's what you did last year. It doesn't say anything about increasing.
Okay, so I would like to amend this motion because there is a motion on the agenda, and
The
I,
motion has to be made first,
there, it says right, okay,
right? Don't we have?
Sure,
the
let's do it.
There's a motion on the agenda, then we. I
Did we
should-
not?
We should at least call the motion to the,
Oh, I thought
glad you're
we
paying
did.
attention now.
pardon me?
I'm
thought
glad you're
we
paying
did.
attention now.
Oh, yes, you need to ask for a motion.
I motion.
So I will read the motion that's on the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the grandfathered 15% price tags being charged to staff for health insurance beginning on July 1, 2022 and ending on June 30, 2023?
We need to add this only does not clarify the situation with the 30% on this move here.
That's neither here nor there. That would be.
I motion.
That would be B, Joe.
Well, no, I think that I didn't understand the 1530 when I wrote this. So I think it's to clarify, because that's what this is about.
That's what this explains.
That's what this is about. It's a 1530, and that's what it is here, 1530. So,
What are you asking?
We don't mention the 30 on that move.
I know.
So I thought with your discussion and with Catherine's input, what you were, I thought, asking in the motion was to read the different levels and in the percentages that they would be paying monthly, so everyone would understand they're 15, 23, 20, or 24. Is that what you meant?
Well, but it's not 15, so that's the thing. It's a 1530.
Okay, but it's not 1530. They're actually 15 for
It's a
single.
differential. The 30 is actually a differential, taking that 15% out, the single.
Right, but I thought we wanted to make it understandable who was paying what, and that's why you brought this up. So I thought you wanted me to read all of this into the motion.
Okay, well, the first
No.
thing is you have to get this motion on the table before you can discuss it.
Okay, but,
That's what you're
so
trying
this
to do.
has to do with the 15%, not the insurance plan. Yeah, this is, all right, you're right, this is our price tags, okay.
So you gotta read this to get the motion on the table.
Okay, well, this would be incorrect. Should I read it correctly and put in all these percentages?
Why?
No, because
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because these are the percentages for the 1530. This is what it works out to be. It's not a 1523 and a 1520.
So what, something's wrong with this item C? Are you telling me
The
that
only
you-
word that's missing from this
Uh-huh.
is the difference between, or two words, difference between
Between what?
employee plus spouse and single, or employee plus child or children and single, or family
How does
minus
this fit
single.
into
And the
approved?
reason is the 30% is applied to the difference between the coverage tier, dependent coverage
I
tiers.
understand that, but how do you want to word this? since you only-
Additional
It would
coverage
be-
is at 30% employee contribution. That's all you got to add to it.
Move
The
to
differential between the dependent tiers and single.
Okay, we-
Move to approve the grandfathered 15%.
15% employee-only coverage,
Okay.
and the differential.
So are you amending it? Because we haven't
between-
even voted on what's
I'm
on here
trying-
yet.
If I can just get this,
Let her say what she wants. and then we can
employee-only
figure it.
coverage,
And the differential between the dependent tier coverage and employee-only,
between the dependent and employee.
dependent coverage tiers, because it would apply to each of the coverage tiers,
I understand.
less the employee-only
Less the employee only.
at 30%. Because the differential is 30%,
Okay.
not the total premium.
You're right, it is a differential, you're right. So let me just read this one more time. Move to approve the grandfathered 15% price tags, employee-only coverage, and the differential between the dependent coverage tiers, less the employee-only at 30%.
Correct. And if I can change anything, it would be the word price tag. It's a premium and their contributions. It's Greg Pritz and I went through this many, many times.
So it's a 15%, it's a contribution rate.
Contribution. It's the contribution rate.
Okay,
It is
so
what
it-
it's it is what's charged, so it is a price tag, but
It's
in our
confusing.
industry,
It's
it's
contribution rate.
contribution amount.
I will change it, I
Employer and
agree.
employee contribution.
I agree with you, because then there's a distinction between the contribution rate and the policy. You know,
The
okay.
total monthly premium.
All right, I'm
and
gonna
the
try this one more time. Move to approve the grandfathered 15% contribution rate.
For employee-only coverage.
For employee-only coverage and the differential between the dependent coverage tiers, less the employee-only at 30% for health insurance beginning on July 1st, 2022 and ending on June 30, 2023. Are we good? Now I'll make a motion?
Yes. Okay, now, do we first have to have the original, because I know when we first read the original, Becky moved, or were we waiting for
We
a
didn't
second?
read it yet.
But you can't just change it without first opening this, and then you have to amend it, because if you're changing the wording, you can't just change the wording, you have to amend it.
Right.
I believe in a board meeting, the agenda that you read into the minutes is acceptable. Isn't that what the attorney told us when we tried to
And then we
make
make
something,
an
when we tried to
amendment
change something when Lisa was
after she
here?
makes the motion, is the way I understand.
Or easily say, as illustrated in the meeting packet.
So first you have to,
Okay,
you're discussing something before you have put it on the table. So just read the motion as it is.
Yeah.
Then Becky seconded, Becky moved, and then it's seconded, and then you're amending it. You just have to officially get the motion on the
Yeah.
table, as it's written in the agenda.
Yes.
all right, so move to approve the grandfathered 15% price tags being charged to staff for health insurance beginning July 1, 2022 and ending on June 30, 2023.
So moved.
So it was
No,
Becky
Becky
and
moved.
Patty?
No,
I withdraw my motion.
Becky withdraws her motion. So it's Joe and whoever else seconds it.
Okay, so it's Joe and Susan, I gotta write this down, sorry. Okay, so.
I move to amend the motion.
The motion to,
I move to amend the
move to-
motion.
I'm speaking to approve.
So
the
am I.
grandfathered
I'm also speaking.
15%
I'm also speaking. I'll just keep talking the same. I'll keep
Contribution.
talking too. I move to amend the motion to approve, to
Not
not
while I'm
approve the
speaking.
grandfathered 15%. I've been waiting to make this amendment for 10 minutes.
She said it first, just let's go, do it. Whatever.
So can you repeat your motion, because I didn't hear it since you were talking while
Well,
I
I
was
didn't get
speaking.
to ever finish it. So that's why you didn't hear it.
And moving forward,
I'm just waiting for them, yes. No.
So the,
Okay, ready?
no, that's fine. Okay, so where are we at? So who's amending?
I'm trying to amend it to a lower percentage. Sure.
No, you can't.
She can make an motion to amend it.
I'm sorry, I didn't get to hear all of
I
it.
mean, so, she's going to make the amendment.
Yep.
She's going to vote on it.
yeah, let's
And you're
get
going to
this
vote no,
through.
and then we're going to make another
We
amendment.
have a lot to do, okay.
Yes, we do.
So your amendment?
Catherine, you have a question?
And my question was, previously, it was 10% for employee only. It was 25% for dependent tiers. So when you're doing a
Okay.
motion,
Revert back to
are you
what it was.
reverting back to
Sure.
everything that it was prior?
Okay. Yes. All right, so my amendment would be move to revert, maybe you can help me with this too if I'm not getting it right. Move to revert to the not price, thank you, contributions as set out last year in May of 2021,
10%
10%
employee
for
only,
employees,
25%
25%,
of the dependent tier differential.
of dependent tier differential. I'm sorry, Margaret.
Okay, so 2021 is when they went to 15 and 30, so I think you need to go back before that.
Yeah, to 2020.
2020. Thank you.
That was in 2020.
I thought she was doing the end of May last year. It was still 10.
That's what I thought too, but
It wasn't until July 1st. That's why it wasn't.
Well, past it, and they needed that. Okay, so she has moved to amend that, and then,
I need a second.
okay, so this is second. So then you got to vote on that amendment, and then Patty second. Patty seconded the amendment. Motion is amended.
Okay, Margaret, would you call the roll on the amended motion?
Okay, so can I
Now,
just read
don't-
it back?
now
Sure.
this is where you read it again
Yeah.
before you actually take the vote
Go right ahead.
Are we voting now, or are we discussing?
on the amendment. Well,
Do you need
That's all I
discussion?
want to know. Are we voting? Because usually once the amendment, then we discuss, don't we?
I don't know about that, because there's been a discussion before the amendment.
Right, okay.
That is
You know,
true.
okay, we have an amendment, we need to vote on the amendment.
Okay, fine.
So if you could please call the, oh, do you want to read the amended
yes,
motion
you're
for Diane?
you're supposed to do it, not for Diane, you're just supposed to do it
Please correct me
before
if I
you
missed
vote.
something.
Yes.
Okay,
That's the way Robert's rules work.
so trustee Kian moved to amend, and I don't know if we want to say amend the motion to revert, we'll do it like that, how about to revert to the contribution as set out last year, or not last year, we got to take that out. 'cause we're
It would
saying
be
it's 2020,
2020,
right? So not last
2021.
year.
This is what I'm
We're gonna
saying.
take out as set out in 2020?
Mhm.
Sure.
In 2020, and basically it's saying 10% employee, 25% dependent tier differential. Do we have it? Thank you. And Patty seconded. Okay. All set? I can take the vote?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Okay. Trustee Derblick?
No.
Trustee Schoenfeld? No. Trustee Makula?
No.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes,
Trustee Keen?
Yes.
Okay, we're talking 3-3, and it fails.
Okay.
Now you read your amendment.
Okay, I would like to amend the motion to approve the grandfathered 15% contribution rate for employee-only coverage and the differential between the dependent coverage tiers less the employee-only at 30% for health insurance beginning on July 1st, 2022 and ending on June 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Question. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
My question is, by voting on B, technically, didn't we vote for that?
We approved the
We
insurance.
approved
plan.
accepting grandfathered status with Blue Cross Blue Shield would be my understanding.
Yeah, which is technically what she's asking us to vote
Yes,
on
I
now?
think this is contribution level, so that would move
So
us
it's
into the
technically not the
next.
same? Thank you.
Okay, so for this one, we have trustee Makula motion, and Suzanne second?
Yes.
Thank you, just want to make sure. Okay, are we all set? I can take
Yes,
the vote?
please call the roll.
Thank you, give me 1 second, just to make sure. Okay, so number 3, here we go. Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld? Yes. Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Pass.
And trustee Olson?
yes.
And trustee Keen?
No.
Okay, so we have ayes is 1, 2, 3, 4. Nays is 1, and one pass, so 1 abstain. Okay. So it looks like it's 4, and that looks like it passes.
I think when you pass, she comes back here. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it usually does. So, I'm going to say no, because it's going to pass anyway.
Thank you.
So that's, yep, so that passes, of course, subject to union negotiation.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you. I look forward, we already have a schedule to do the open enrollment meeting so we can meet with employees. We're looking forward to doing one that will be via Zoom and then another one in person. And so we're very excited to be back in person this year to be able to work with employees and continue to build that relationship. So
Cool.
it's been a pleasure
Thank you.
working with
Thank
you.
you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is D. Do I have a motion to approve the one-year subscription renewal of 12 Adobe Creative Cloud desktop app licenses from CDW-G for $13,941.60?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now we can have discussion. Trustee McCullough.
I think we don't have the hours of usage, and the hours of usage we did see is there was for 5 computers. One had substantial use, and the other 4 had hardly any use. And I think my proposal is to reduce this to 6 licenses, and let the employees figure out which ones they want to use.
Okay, so these licenses are also used by the public. These are not just staff licenses.
Right, no, I mean, if they want to put 5 out to the public and 1 for themselves, or 3 and 3 or something.
Right, and so these are licenses that are used when they're teaching classes, licenses that are used in the, in Studio A, used by patrons that check out the Mac computers to use in the library. So you're actually going to be restricting the usage of some of these materials by reducing these licenses. Rich, you can jump in here anytime if I'm not getting it right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to boil it down, the 5 Macs that these licenses are on, the use that we were able to get from the 12-month report, it boils down to about $10 per use. So the use is an average, I believe, it showed about an hour. So it's about a $10 investment for each of those uses. The other uses, 2 of which are also for patrons, but we do not have any kind of booking software, so we can't really tell you what the use of those 2 computers are from a booking software perspective. But it's in the makerspace, and pretty much everything in the makerspace requires some Adobe Creative Suite software application. So that covers 5, 6, and 7, so that's the 7 of those. The rest are on staff computers, and those are at the service desk, in their office, in the training room, Studio B, which is what we call it, and on a Macintosh that they use to develop programs for the Mac. So that's basically what it is. And these licenses differ than the licenses like, for example, the Cumberland City and Marketing, Public Relations and Marketing Department have, where they're individual licenses. These are licenses that allow multiple uses of that computer by many people. So the price is a little higher due to the fact that you have multiple users. It's not tied to an individual. So we're required by Adobe to have those licenses for these types of applications. This application of this computer.
Thank you, Rich.
Yeah.
Thank you. Trustee Schoenfeld.
I move to amend the motion. I move to approve 1-year subscription renewal for 8 Creative Cloud Adobe licenses.
Second.
Don't you have to do that right after?
No, before the vote.
I
So-
don't think so.
Sure,
them
you
do
can
what
look
they're
it up
gonna
in
do, 'cause they're
Robert's
gonna do it
rules.
anyway.
Seriously.
Well, we're going to
Yeah,
vote
we're gonna
on
vote no
this
anyway, but-
amendment anyway.
But yeah, that's not done properly.
I used to have Roberts on my phone here, and
If
I
you want to make
cannot
an
I already
amendment, you
find it.
have to do
confirmed it
it
with
right
the
after
attorney.
the second.
So if we could move forward, she's just made an amended motion, and I think it was seconded by
I did.
trustee
But it's
McCullough.
no,
I
it
did.
doesn't count because she didn't make it at the right time.
So, Margaret, would you please call the roll?
Yeah, Suzanne, can you read that back to me? I want to make sure I get it right.
Sure. I move to amend the motion. I move to approve the one-year subscription renewal of 8 Adobe Creative Cloud desktops, licenses CDW-G.
I'll let you want to look that one up in your book.
Under amendments or idiocy?
Okay,
So the only
Margaret, would you
changing
please
is the
call
date.
the roll?
Okay, trustee Derblick,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
trustee McCullough,
What are we voting on? On 8?
8.
She's, you
Yes,
just,
you did a motion amended to 8.
but you voted against your motion. Did you say yes?
Yes, she wants 8 instead of 12.
Yeah, but they called a vote. I thought you said no. Did you say yes or no?
No, yes, she said yes.
She said yes. I didn't, okay. I say yes also.
Okay.
No.
hold on, I just want to clarify because Mr. McCullough did second it, so we're
Yes, he
still there.
did
Okay,
second
I
it,
just
but
wanna
he
make
didn't
sure.
know what the hell he was seconding.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So trustee McCullough said
Yes.
yes, trustee Rozansky?
No.
Okay, trustee Olson?
No.
Trustee Keen?
No.
Okay, 3-3. Fails.
I find it interesting that here again, something that benefits our residents, our taxpayers, they're cutting.
Well,
But hey, let's have all the
We're not
FOIAs go to the
finished
attorney,
with the
pay them.
Trustee, are those your comments for this?
we're not finished, are we, with the
No,
first
so the
one?
original motion is still on the table,
go
and
back
so
to
it's
the
your
original.
turn.
Rosansky's time to make comments. I was asking if that were your comments.
Part of them
Okay. Please
is
proceed.
that it's ridiculous you keep cutting on what is to benefit our residents. And technology especially, ever since a particular board member got on our board, that particular board member, whose name I'm not mentioning, but should know who the heck they are, has always been cutting or trying to cut anything technology, has stated that we shouldn't put in grants for technology.
Okay,
So,
excuse me,
I'm
Trustee
sorry.
Rosansky, you need to,
I
your
didn't mention
comments-
anybody's name,
You
I'm
need-
just stating, I'm annoyed.
Okay, thank you. Your comments need to pertain to the motion.
The motion is, it should not, we should not cut stuff that is for our residents.
All right, thank you. Trustee Olson?
Let's face it, these kind of decisions that you're making, I don't know where you are headed, but you are destroying the library. If you continue to cut all of our necessities, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, when I'm
It's
downstairs,
just-
usually it's packed.
Unbelievable. It's just pathetic.
Yeah.
You should be ashamed of yourselves.
All right, thank you. Trustee Keen?
Yeah, I think that Rich knows better than anyone sitting on this stage what the library needs, and I trust him. Thank you,
Totally.
Rich.
That's what he's paid for.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to mention that I had requested the usage on these 12 computers that we would be renewing the Adobe subscription licenses, and the library does not track usage. In order to determine the need for anything, you have to track usage. We have 5 laptops have this software on various other computers, but yet we can't determine which computers use it more or if it's used at all, and what part of the Adobe license, that there's several different, I mean, there's like 50 different Adobe programs that you can have. I don't even know what is involved in
That's
this.
right,
Exactly.
you don't
Cloud
know.
desktop, 50, 20, I've seen some for 10. What does yours offer that
It's the whole creative suite, so.
which includes how many?
I would say approximately 12.
12, okay.
used.
No, how many are offered? How many are offered?
Right now, what is that? About 18. I think in the suite. Yeah, so it looks like 18 in the suite, maybe. There's smaller applications or helper applications that are included, but the primary titles are like about a dozen primary titles.
Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. So there's about 12, because what I searched came up with 10, but then it can go as high as 50. So I wasn't sure what particular one you are ordering. But I think it's important to understand that before you can determine that you need licenses on any computer, you need to determine what the usage is. And I thought the big problem would be if we would decrease the number of these licenses, that maybe it could affect who uses the computers and for how long. So my next question would be, if someone comes to the library to use the computers that this Adobe software is on, how do we handle that? Is it scheduled? Is it just first come, first serve? Is it limited? How do we do that?
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
I can speak to that. Again, I'm speaking from the IT perspective, so we license, we purchase the licenses, we try to get the best pricing, the correct licenses. Digital services is the one in this particular case that uses these licenses, so I am summarizing as best as I can. But with regards to patron interaction with this, with the computers and specifically the software, I can tell you that 5, as you indicated from my email, 5 are max, and
Right.
people come in, they have to have Niles cards in order to use those particular computers. One is the Studio A, that room that has a
Right.
green space.
Just concisely, are they limited times? Are they scheduled times? What is the?
They
proper
can make an
to be able
appointment.
to use the
They can
computers
make an
and
appointment.
software?
If it's available when they walk in, they can use it. But they can make an appointment ahead of time if they want to.
For the Macs and for these,
For the studios, for the makerspace, for, whatever. They can come in and they can use the software to create a 3D print item, and, then that is submitted for printing. So some of it they can use if it's available. Some they make appointments for. If it's more convenient for them to make an appointment because they're coming at a certain time, they can make an appointment.
okay, thank you. So we have 5 Macs. Are the Macs scheduled, or do they make an appointment, or do they just walk in?
I just said
The
that.
Macs.
Either way, they can make
Okay.
an appointment. If they're available when they walk in, they can have it.
And if once they obtain a Mac, is there a limited amount of time that they use it?
Yes, I believe they circulate for 2 hours at a time.
And then we have 2 licenses for the digital services desk. Which desk are they referring to?
The tech desk downstairs, so the people there can help people and demonstrate and show them different aspects of the software. They have to be able to access it to help people.
So what we're saying is the patrons then would go to the, behind the desk where the employee works for them to help them? The employee wouldn't go to the computer in the
Both.
lab?
They would do both.
Okay, so there's 4 licenses for direct patron support. Are those the 4 in the,
There's 5 licenses for the Macs,
right?
and then for the
2 for
tech
the desk?
services desks,
Mhm.
yes.
Then the 4 licenses for direct patron support, where are they? Is that in the
One location.
One location.
So there's two in one area, okay.
One area.
And what
There's
is
one in
it,
the trading room.
and, I'm sorry,
There's one in the trading room, Studio B.
Okay.
Is what it's called.
in the makerspace, what equipment is there that they use these computers for?
3D printers for what?
Many.
Can you mention what they are?
Maybe we need to table this item if there's so
No,
many
thank you.
questions.
Can you please mention that again?
Sure, everything from sewing patterns.
I just want to know specifically what's in there. So the sewing machine does use this. Does the sewing machine use
Yeah,
this
I think it
software?
is.
If you want to create patterns for.
Embroidery and stuff.
Okay, well, I thought that,
They
but
have
I
a
wasn't sure.
silhouette,
So it's sewing
printer in there.
machine and what else did you say?
They have a silhouette, several silhouette printers in there. These are like stencils that they
Right.
print out. Posters, for creating posters, creating laser cuts in wood, metal, on glass etching.
So-
There's a laser cutter in there.
What about the 3D printer?
Yep.
Where is that located?
Oh my gosh.
So there's one that's available, that's in that room.
Okay,
and
thank
How do
there's
you
another
not know
one
that?
that's on display up here on this,
Yeah.
commentary.
Before you go downstairs.
Yeah, I've seen that. Okay, so in this makerspace, see, I thought these were separate rooms, and I thought they would each need a computer, but since there's multiple pieces of equipment, I see what you're saying. Okay, so there are two in the makerspace. Thank you for explaining. And then the one license for a shared office, is that up in?
So they have two that they share. One is on a PC and one is on a Mac.
One license for a shared office computer.
Where's that located?
It's in the office.
Which office?
Digital Services Office.
Oh, okay.
And then they also have a Mac. There's a shared Mac.
So it's a digital services office. Okay.
Right, because all we're talking about
Thank you.
are licenses for digital services.
All right, well, thank you for that explanation. All right, I believe the motion on the table is the original motion.
I have a question.
Oh, go right ahead.
When is it due? When is it, or when is it up, I guess, the renewal?
They asked us to renew it before the 15th of May in order to get the renewal in so that there's no lapse. But it is, I believe, the second week of June.
Okay. And what do you think would be the repercussions of not having the 12? If we had to go down to 8 or 6, what do you think that would cause?
Again, I'm not the supervisor. for
Right, you're not digital
I
services.
can conjecture that, with regards to the patron facing, if we lost all of the licenses, then, I'm not really, we have 580 uses for the last year for the max that we have statistical data for. I'd say about 90% of the usage of those computers is for any of those applications that are in the Adobe suite. So I would imagine that we could lose a good portion of that usage. There's a few programs like audio programs that we also have on there from Apple and freeware that people could use and do. But the majority of the use is in that Adobe suite
Right.
of applications. So I think that would be decimating that particular part of digital services.
So potentially, you could go into Makerspace having a project in mind and get there and find out you can't do it anymore.
Correct.
Especially 3D printer.
Their programming on the
So if I could just, I found the website, actually. There are 11 pieces of equipment listed in the makerspace itself. And that includes the embroidery machine, the inkjet printer, the poster printer, the laser cutter, the heat press, the Jerome sewing machine, the laminator, the 3D printer, the Prusa, which is also, I believe, a 3D printer, and the Silhouette Cameo cutting machine. So that's just in the one room.
And
All of
right
that
now we
equipment
have-
is in the makerspace.
And right now, we have 2 computers in the makerspace.
Yes.
For all that.
All right, can I just ask another question? I'm sorry, were you finished?
I will state that patrons use the other computers as well to create items that they will then use in the makerspace, all those pieces of equipment in order to 4 computers that not one person sits at, but many people, including like patrons where they're not even staff. So we have no idea how many we would need to get of named licenses. So that's why these licenses are very specific. They don't really give these out to anybody. You can only really get them for education and for government like us.
Okay, thank you. Is there a reason why we do not track software usage?
I can't speak to that.
Are we unable to track software usage?
We would have to find software that would be able to track what it is that we want to track.
Currently, you're tracking Adobe on the
We're not
Mac.
tracking any software usage.
So what was
We're
the,
tracking sessions of use of a particular computer that is a patron computer.
okay, that's what I thought. So if you're not tracking Adobe usage on the Mac, you're tracking how many times somebody uses that computer for whatever purpose.
Yeah, and my
So
estimate.
Trustee McCullough, that would not, those numbers then do not reflect Adobe usage, that 500
No,
is
that's
something.
total-
It's just computer usage.
That's total computer usage on
Okay.
those Macs.
Yes,
And,
as I said.
and it could only be 20% was not using Adobe.
Oh, I didn't know what,
Indicate about
okay, I
90%
misunderstood.
or higher,
Uh,
due to the fact that we know what people go in there and ask for, and that's what they ask for. So-
Can I ask a question now?
Oh, sure, if you have another
Yes.
question?
Rich, I know from taking workshops where they use the computers for, like you said, stencil, that silhouette stuff, or for even 3D, because I've done at least those two and a few other. These licenses, if you have a room full of people, how many licenses do you need for, say, if you have 10 people in there?
So this license is per machine, and anyone can use that machine. If you buy named licenses, which we do for staff that have individual computers, only that person can use the application. Another person can go on that computer, but they would not have access.
Yeah, but,
Legally, they couldn't have access to the software unless they were licensed.
and I understand that, but I'm saying, I've been in class, we've all had laptops or
Right.
computers.
So we do not purchase licenses for the Adobe suite for the majority of the computers that are down there. So they have an availability of Studio B laptops that are in that Studio B training room.
Mhm.
None of those laptops have this software. It's limited to only 2 of the laptops, and they're dedicated in the makerspace. The only, it would be for demonstration in the training room, with regards to that one computer in there. And then we have them dedicated to the patron Mac laptops that they can check out inside the library.
So basically, when
There
we're,
are other software applications that we have chosen to purchase. Usually they're less expensive, and those are like the button making software
Yeah.
and other things,
Mhm.
freeware, or, usually it's software like that,
Mhm.
that we do install on 12 or 18 computers in there when we have training. But with this, it is very expensive, and we try to limit it to the use that it needs to be.
but if there's a training,
Yeah.
and it's for the 3D printer, and everybody is doing it on their own little laptop, they don't all have to have this software?
No.
It's
they
just
don't.
according to the one who's running the class?
Right, so we utilize this software for not just 3D printing, but a lot of different graphic design.
Well, I'm just using 3D printing as
Right,
an
so it is-
example.
Yeah, so the Maker Space, Studio B, the whole digital services department has many different functionalities, many
Mhm.
different programs and events, and they have 24 patron computers, another 8 that are for guest use. Not all of these are the same thing, right? So we don't just blanket buy the same software for every single computer, especially if it's very dedicated. So the Mac computers, which we only have 5 of them, they all have it. don't use them for word processing. Certainly, they might use a word processor to grab some text and maybe throw it into an Adobe product. They certainly might go on the internet to get some kind of information, whether it's from their email or some files that they might use. But the primary usage of those Macs are the Adobe software. And I'm sure
why-
the digital services supervisor, who's been there for like 5 years, could state that, but I mean, we've had a transition.
Do we have a situation where two people at the same time are asking for instructions at the digital service desk, that we need both of those to
Well,
be?
they have traditionally staffed it with 2 people, and both people, not only do they, man that area, but they also work on projects. So whether it's a patron coming up, they might be working on that computer on some sort of project that they need that software, or one of those applications in that suite. So
What type of application would they be using on the computer other than for the patron?
Preparing for a class that they're getting ready to teach.
Making a flyer for a program you're planning.
Yeah, so staff will utilize their desk time not only to help patrons, but also to work on projects as time allows.
Some other things that I use this at work as well at the library, and I do make flyers all the time. You can work on them together with other coworkers, whether they are there at the same time or not, because you can jump right in where someone else left off, so you can work collaboratively. Patrons come in and use these things for work, where they can make Facebook posts, Instagram posts, resumes, flyers, garage sale permits, or not permits, but things to put out. So they can be using it for personal things. They can be using it for things they're creating for work. I don't know that the Instagram posts that the teen department is using is being used, if they're using Adobe for that or not, but I have noticed that their Instagram posts have skyrocketed. The numbers have gone way up. So if they're using Adobe for that, then that's a pretty good use of the license.
Any other comments?
I mean, the only thing else I would say is that it is a budgeted purchase. So back last year when we were doing the budget, it was in the budget, it is in the budget for procurement. So it's not an additional thing that we're doing, just renewing the 12 licenses that we pay for the basis.
I understand. Well, what I do think is important that we track our software usage to the point that some area may be using software more than another would definitely be the information we need to determine where this software is or where it needs to be increased in the number of opportunities that it can be used. We don't have that. And the other thing is, we talk about how the attendance in the library has decreased.
No, we
And
don't.
we
No, we don't.
also, well, when you look at the statistics, we also don't track the usage. So we're here to make a decision, and we have no information
Oh my
that
God.
explains how we're utilizing this for the past year.
Oh, my God. Have
So,
you
I mean, it-
listened for the past
I would
15
argue
minutes?
that there is not a lack of information.
There's
It's
no
just not that
usage.
information that you're asking.
Give her
Right,
a
you-
number.
There's no usage. Do you have,
I'm going to use Adobe
Do
to
you
make a
have-
sign that says,
do
when
you
you get
have
to the library and can't make your project, please contact Carolyn Derblick before we lose the license.
That's a
I don't want
privacy
somebody's
issue.
name, I'm talking usage. Okay, so we don't know, we don't track the number.
We can look into purchasing that software. I don't think it's
Yes,
going to be
that's
cheap.
another
But we
expense.
can
It's
look
not
into purchasing
necessary.
software that will track usage of software. It's going to be another product.
Well, you should, if you wanna buy things, the more information you have.
Yeah,
to
we will buy the
justify what you
software to
need.
track it.
What you need to do is figure out
What you need
the
to do is
options
get
are
over yourself.
to track.
You don't need any more data.
We can look into that. We've never tracked that. We can look into it. We have staff here that is aware, they're aware of the usage. They're working with the,
Through what method?
through experience, through working with the patrons, knowing what the patrons are using.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But do we have a log of how?
I
We
said
don't
we'd look
need
into it. We will look into it. We will find a way to track the software. We'll bring it back to the board when we find it.
So if we don't
But
pass
as
this
far-
tonight, then we're going to forfeit the whole thing, right, Rich? Because it's due.
Well, yeah, what will happen is that we won't be able to review,
And then the prices will go up.
Prices will go up?
yeah, so.
And then they have more, then they'll have more money for their pockets.
Well, I would suggest, since we don't have, since, believe it or not, tracking usage and the number of people who use it is a factor in making a decision, rather than not order any of these licenses, decreasing them until we gain some information so we can make a more knowledgeable decision in purchasing in the future is better than not having any.
Don't we
So,
need a
but if you wanna
consensus to
cancel
look
it,
for
Yeah.
another company
not
to
my
do that?
call.
Because I don't agree with that,
Have
so I
you,
don't.
I mean, when this was approved in last year's budget, that would have been the time to ask for the tracking software.
Yeah, why
So
can't
now
get
you are
it?
going to approve this purchase, and when, we will look for tracking
I'll
software.
be honest with you, I was shocked that you don't track usage.
Well,
I
So
don't
that
feel,
would be
We-
the difference.
so,
I mean, I'm learning every day because, again, I don't work in the library.
right.
And all this information is new to me, so I bring it to you
After all
when
these
I
years?
when I come
Right.
to realization.
She's only been a board member
And
over
it
9
is
years.
not, it is not the practice of libraries
I
to
understand.
track
Thank you.
everything that people do when they walk in the building. It is not the
Right.
concept
That's
of
right.
a library.
Well, no,
If you
usage of
want,
software to purchase it is
if you
different.
want it tracked, we'll track it.
but I don't
We're
want it
going
tracked.
to
Do we
figure
not have-
out how much it's going to cost, and we'll bring it to the board.
Before it's done, because it's not going to go.
Can I say this, please? It's already in the budget. You're not spending extra money. Can't you pass it through the way it stands? And then next year, work it into a budget?
Yeah, then, now, after it's passed, then see about the tracking software and how much it's going to cost and
Thank you for
how
having
it
But
fits
I
in.
mean, it's in the budget. Why are you taking money away from money
You
that
wanna
you
know why?
said they could
Because she
spend?
can.
Do you want to know why? Because I am being told constantly
By whom?
by residents,
Oh,
okay,
my
about
God. Well, get
about-
off the phone and talk to any of the people
Okay,
that
I'm
were
bringing up
here
these
tonight.
suggestions because they're valid in terms of making a decision. And I'm being questioned about how I come up with the decisions I make. And do I do this?
Well, you
do
already
that?
made the decision for the budget.
But anyway, that's my answer, so.
And
now
I
that-
also
budget is-
get plenty of comments about why are we cutting everything? So who are we listening to? They're all residents.
You can't
I'm
even,
asking
you
to
can't even
justify the
keep the
numbers.
promise of the budget from last year. Why can't you?
Just pass it, see about getting your software you
so
want,
aggravating.
find out how much it costs, and then worry about that for next year.
Okay, once again, a year ago, this budget was passed. We're now looking at a recession and all the problems that are going on
Worry
in the
about that for
economy.
the next
We
budget.
need to make decisions based on some sort of data, some sort of information, and we have none. So
Then
I'm
you
saying-
can get it for next year.
And when did
Get
you
your
start asking
information
about
for
getting
next
this
budget.
data? Just tonight?
You know, some of the data is the fact that our circulation is about half of what it was 2 years ago.
Thank you, Joe.
And the number of people coming in the library is about the same.
It's
half.
increasing
Not true.
as we speak.
That's not true. And we've been talking about this since
We've been,
8:33,
you know,
and it's
it's
9:09.
It's whose view you're listening to.
Did you look at this?
Original borrowings.
Oh, and that's not the total thing we look at here, bucko.
We're
All right,
talking
this
about
is-
software, not
This meeting
circulation.
is now out of control.
Fine.
So,
Why
there's
don't
an
we just
agenda-
call the meeting, because we're not getting anywhere?
Would you like to call the meeting? We can adjourn.
Fine, let's adjourn, because why bother? As far as I'm concerned, no executive session, no nothing.
So moved,
Just
I guess.
leave.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Patty?
No,
Oh, now you don't want to.
no, I'm frustrated, Carolyn, because
Okay.
anytime we want to do something, you bring up, I need more data, I need more data.
It's an excuse.
It's
just an
exactly an excuse. When we wanted to deal with the hiring freeze, I need more data, I need more data. You know, I'm getting to the point where I'm like extremely frustrated, not for myself, but for our residents and our staff.
So did we vote on this yet, or where are we at with this?
Okay, so we are not taking a motion to adjourn. The agenda on the item is move to approve a one-year subscription renewal of 12 Adobe Creative Cloud desktop app licenses from CDW-G for $13,941.60. Margaret, please call the roll.
Trustee Derblick?
No.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
No.
Trustee McClure?
No.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes, because I care about our residents.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keen?
Yes.
3-3 fails.
You are pathetic.
We tried to decrease.
Oh, baloney.
All right, the next
Everything
item on
except
the
the legal
agenda-
fees, which
next-
don't benefit anybody.
The next item on the agenda is E, move to authorize the travel in June 2022 of 3 members of the Public Relations and Marketing staff to Washington, D.C. to attend the award ceremony and accept the 2022 John Cotton Dana Award for Outstanding Public Relations.
Move.
Second.
So was that,
It was a move and a second.
Patty, Becky?
And Diane.
I mean, Becky. Patty, sorry.
Please.
Okay, we have a movement and a second. We can now have discussion. Trustee Makula, do you have any comments?
Yes. I looked this up online, and there's 8 libraries that are getting this award. It's not like we're top place or whatever, first of all.
That's very demeaning.
Secondly, they're giving out like 30 different awards. And there's the option to attend this online. And it's going to be live
You are
streamed.
degrading the staff, Joe, by even
Seriously,
saying
why in
that.
the heck does our staff want to go out of their way to try and do their job beyond what they have to when you're going to knock them down? When they're getting an award that's worth $10,000 to our library.
Okay.
We would get the award if we
Let's
show
hear
up or
the
not.
rest of the foolishness.
Yeah, let's hear the rest of
Let's
it.
hear it. Whatever kind of stupidity is gonna be.
Just let them go. I'm
Let's
sure
hear
we'll
it.
hear it.
It's not in the 21-22 budget.
Well,
We cut the travel expense for that. And we're probably 3 people in a hotel in
Now you're
Washington.
bringing up the
We're-
budget, now you're gonna follow the budget?
We're looking at spending
5
$4,000
minutes
to
ago, you
collect
didn't follow the
10,000.
budget.
No, I have data on this. Just one moment. Yeah,
Please.
Sasha did some research, and he put some information together. So it would, for 3 staff to go, would be $1,800. It's a Friday morning to Monday morning. It's a Friday evening event on the 26th of June. Oh, yes, Sunday. Did I say, what did I say? No, I did, but it's Sunday. It's a Sunday night
One
event.
night.
One night, yeah, one night.
It's one night only?
Yeah, so it's $1,800 for the 3 staff to go, and it's $710 for 1 staff member to go.
Is it for airfare?
That is airplane, hotel, taxi, and food.
How did you come to those numbers?
They researched it.
Okay. Next.
In spite of all of that, Joe, this is the highest honor for a library marketing professional. So they give out a lot of awards to a lot of people. They give out a lot of
Can we-
Grammy awards, but it's still a Grammy.
Can we modify
Still an
this?
Oscar.
Can we modify this to send one person? That would be what, $750?
Why, what are you gonna
710.
do with the other money that you have
Yeah, not
in
spend it
our
on Adobe.
budget?
Not spend it on Adobe.
Yeah, but, right, can't buy Adobe, so what the heck?
Oh, add it to the million.
And we're getting 10,000 out of this.
But it's 20 now.
Either
because
way,
they
you
won it
get to
twice.
10.
Oh, yes, they also, this is their second time they've earned it, or won it.
I modify the,
You can't do that unless
This
you
is
do it right after the
discussion.
person seconds. You have to follow the rules.
So can we all, this is so confusing, but before you modify, can we all at least get some comments out? Trustee Schoenfeld?
My questions have been answered. The travel time is for 1 day, you said?
Yes, this is for 1 night.
For 1 night? $1,800 for 3?
Yes.
And then $710 for 1 adult?
Yeah, those are estimates based off of.
And what airlines are you planning to go on?
Southwest. That was the cheapest.
And your food accommodations and so forth?
I believe we have a policy where it's,
Per diem is $50.
It's $50 per diem?
All right, trustee Rosansky?
I am for the staff. I am for 3 staff members going. Thank you.
Trustee Olson?
Yes, I'm very proud of our marketing department. Please don't do this. And I mean, deny them. Please don't deny. Thank you.
Trustee Keene?
Congratulations, Sasha and Robin and Annette, for another fantastic job. I think it is an extremely high honor that you guys have been able to achieve twice. That's a great achievement for our library. It reflects well on the town and on our library and on you guys as well. I am all for all 3 of you going. I think that's not a secret. Yes, travel is not in the budget, but they have won $20,000 for this library and had no say in where that money goes. So it's not like it's going in their pockets or it's going into their department. It's just going wherever it goes. I don't think that using $1,800 or even a little bit more of that to reward them and have our library seen in Washington, D.C. in person is a waste of money. I think that's an honor for our library as well, for our staff to be there. It works both ways. You know, it's going to benefit the experience of going there and receiving it in person is a professional highlight that they will never forget. And you know, I mean, who knows if they'll ever have that opportunity again. For us to deny that is disgusting. And so what happens if we do say no, or we say only one person goes to Washington? You know where the other people are going to go? Out our front door, like 30 other people have. Because why should they stay here if they're not appreciated?
All right, thank you. Sasha, I want to commend you and the marketing department for this award. It's outstanding, and it's the second time that you've brought it to the library. It's most commendable. What I'm concerned about is, though,
There's no
Trustee Keene mentioned that the $10,000 grant is not spent in marketing or public relations.
It has no stipulations with the grant. I don't know where the money went last time. Do you? I don't know. It just goes into the pot, you know.
Seriously.
Well, I don't know. He
But the
doesn't know.
grant-
I don't know who
but the
would know.
grant- But the grant is for your marketing or public relations submission, right?
Correct. From the 2020 award and the given libraries like wrap their van, for example, they put the money, you know what I'm saying, like something directly that affects.
I see.
We have not spent that money on anything directly saying this is where the money went.
Oh, well, I sort of thought it would have been something to do with your department, but okay, well, I understand that better now. I'll be honest with you, I'd like to see this award, I'd like to see you and your department recognized by this entire library community. Right? I didn't research this, but if it was available online, my thought process was the day this happened, that it would be a special event in the library, the community would be invited, and you would receive this, what is it called, streaming live or whatever, and we would have people here from the community to commend you, to thank you, and it would be a celebration. The library staff would participate. I thought that would be a great way to go. I understand it's nice to travel, but I just felt like this is something that everybody should share in, and that was going to be my suggestion, but go ahead.
If I may comment. I'm not sure if Trustee McCullough, where you looked on the ALA conference website. I know that the American Library Association has their own award. This is separate. This is a totally different entity. They just have it during the conference because, and I quote, everyone's going to the conference. You know what I'm saying? So it has nothing to do. I just received today the date and time of the reception, and I have not received anything from the source that there will be an online option. So I think you're looking at something else. Something that Trustee King mentioned is in 2020, when we won, it was the start of the pandemic, and they didn't even have a virtual thing. They did not even have a physical in-person thing. So, we are very, very lucky. I think it's very lucky to win one. I think it's extremely lucky, and shows our dedication and, I think about the Oscars and let's say somebody won twice. I can't even think of somebody right now. I guarantee it probably wasn't a year or two later. So the fact that the team that you have employed here 2 years later got it again, I mean, it really speaks volumes. So Carolyn, Trustee Sterling, I appreciate your idea, but I know nothing. Like I said, today I found out because I kept on hounding the person. I'm like, I need the board meeting. Like, I just need to know a date so I can get these numbers to you guys. There's nothing that I know about.
ALA functions that way, unfortunately. I totally understand.
ALA is virtual, but you have to buy a ticket for it. It's not virtual as in just streamed for free. They have a virtual conference, but you have to pay to go.
His specific award portion of it.
Well, but I mean, you still have to have a ticket to be able to see the stream.
Oh, I'm sure there probably is a cost associated with it, but I'm concerned that what we would be focusing on would be the time that the marketing department would receive this award. I like to bring the community together. I think this is a great idea, and I'd like to see it be like a big celebration.
I think
to
we
me,
could do
this
that
is
after the
better.
fact, after he comes back.
Exactly.
What you're going to do is the message that is sending is that they are not important enough or not worth it.
Well, I don't know that airfare and hotel equate to your value. I don't look at it that
You're
way.
being cheapskates. Just send them. That's what
No,
they
I'm not
deserve.
being a cheapskate.
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
you are.
I can say something else. I even looked at that we did a one-day trip. So that we came in the morning, we left at night. But I found out today that the reception ended way too late. We would be literally like killing ourselves.
Oh, I'm
at the
sure.
airport.
I'm sure. And
So just so you know, like I looked at every option. We're not planning on staying like in some presidential suite or anything. I mean, you should see what the prices are in DC. And
Oh,
I was happy to
I'm
find
sure.
the price that I found for something decent for us
Yeah.
to stay at for one night. The other thing that's very important to know is the $20,000 did not come out of the Niles-Maine taxpayers. It's a totally separate thing. It has nothing to do.
Oh, I'm aware of that.
Right. So I'm just saying that we are not hurting the community by going. In a way, I see that $1,800 can get taken out of the reward for all intents and purposes. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really hurting the community.
It's like waking up on Christmas morning and finding coal in your stocking.
Seriously, they bring $20,000 in, and you're not willing to pay $1,800 for them to go receive the award. And I'm sorry, saying we want to celebrate in the community and watch it on video, how many people are going to be here? And if you're going to do that, plan it like Ms. Keene said, after the fact. You can have a big deal. You can,
The
ALA might
purpose
not be
is to
so
share the
keen on
award
this
with the
idea.
community. And the issue we have is getting the community and the library for a purpose that everyone would be proud to celebrate.
I
And
know
I
what
thought this
kind
would
of-
be a great idea. It's
thought
my
about it.
suggestion, I'm only one trustee.
Yes,
So-
and you have two others that will go right along with you, and again, not show the appreciation for this department who brought us $20,000, not from our taxpayers, to give them a little bit just so they can go and receive their award.
We don't even know if AOA will let you do something like that. I mean,
I don't think we'll be winning this award again if they don't get to go.
Maybe, Sasha,
Yeah.
did you have your hand up?
If it's at night, then you're gonna be paying people to keep the building open at night?
I
There's a
don't,
time difference.
Was it during the day or?
It's from 4, it starts at 4.
So, but you don't know what time you're,
We don't even know if there's a room available. Come on, let's,
you don't know.
Well, the award reception starts at 4 Eastern, but Eastern time, whatever.
Oh, so it's an hour later. So it's in the evening.
it doesn't matter because it's the dumbest
Please
idea.
let him speak.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
I'm
you know
sorry.
she's gonna get
I'm sorry, Sasha.
One thing I want to mention is trustees are really talked about getting people back. One of the main reasons that we wanted this is because of the public relations and marketing efforts of this awesome event, where our goal was, someone said, Sasha, there's going to be 200 people there. I'm like, I don't think so. I think 150, 600 people came. So the people did come, so it's like, we're celebrating that they did come to like a big event that the library had during COVID time. So, just, I just wanted to say, I understand that. like,
Oh, no, it's
the
fine.
day
It was
to day,
just
but I
my
mean-
suggestion, but I'm not,
And I appreciate it.
I'm not diminishing, flying there. I'm saying, wow, this would be great for the community. So, no, but thank you.
Is this award 10,000 or 20,000?
It is 10,000, but we now want it twice, so we put up 20,000.
So this year is 10,000. We won 10,000 2 years or 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's what they did, that's their award.
Okay, do we have a motion on the table? Yes, I have Becky and Diane. So the motion on the table is to authorize the travel of 3 members. Did we want to include the price? I could
No,
amend it, that Sasha was able to get?
that could change. They
Yeah.
haven't booked it yet.
You could put the limit on there or something if you wanted to.
Sasha, what are your thoughts on the amount you were able to?
Well, that's what I was able to with 1,800 for all those things, but
No, is that per a guest?
no.
No, total.
For the 3 of them.
Yeah, total for the.
So 2,000 would cover it.
What do you think is going to change? Airfare?
Well,
It
I'm
might.
trying to book a family trip, and every time I look, it's like
yeah, every day it
So what
changes.
would be the window that we could use here?
If you want to do the 2,000, and we'll try to book it tomorrow, you know what I mean, hoping that we got today's prices.
We could say,
Yeah,
the
tomorrow's
lowest
Thursday.
price available.
Will change by tomorrow, you know what I mean, I'm going by literally today's price.
And the next day it might go.
The
further
2,000,
down.
if they booked it tomorrow, would cover it.
Well, that's
I
if they
think
don't
so.
go up. I mean, my experience is overnight, they just,
Yeah.
you gotta get on it like by
So
1
The
a.m.
airfare is a
The-
fraction of
They
it. The hotel
change
rooms and the
daily.
others
I
are,
don't know.
Could we
I don't know about that
state
number.
that it would be booked for the lowest fare available?
Yes.
Well, you know what, we need to, if we're going to approve something, we have to have a dollar amount. You don't just blanket.
Okay, okay, what
Not
this,
exceed
let
2,500
Sasha
and
decide.
everything, then just to play it safe.
No, that's what I was gonna say.
Because, I was looking, with all the things come up, I mean, United is through the roof, all of like the big guys are through the roof, this was Southwest.
So, like Sasha said, if you have a cutoff amount, say that amount, and if it's a little bit more, if you have your cutoff amount, if they want to pay a couple of dollars, or if, I personally think we should cover it because of the amount of money they're bringing in, but I personally think all three of them should go.
Okay, I move to amend this motion. I move to authorize the travel for Sasha Vasilic, Annette Spadoni, and Robin Comey in June to Washington, D.C. to attend the award ceremony and accept the 2022 John Cotton Dana Award for Outstanding Public Relations. Can I have a first?
So moved.
You got the $2,500 on that?
Oh, not to exceed $2,500. Should I read it again?
Please.
Okay, I move to amend this motion. I move to authorize the travel for Sasha Vasilic, Annette Spadoni, and Robin Comey
Thanks. Right?
in June to Washington, D.C. to attend the award ceremony and accept the 2022 John Cotton Dana Award for Outstanding Public Relations, the cost not to exceed $2,500.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Margaret, I wrote it down if you want it and give you this piece of paper, okay? Would you please, when you're done,
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
would you please call the roll?
Trustee Derbelik?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Wazanski?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keen?
Yes. Unanimous.
Thank you and congratulations.
Congratulations.
We appreciate the three of you.
And I want to say, on behalf of Annette, Robin, and myself, thank you very much for this unanimous.
You are very welcome.
And we appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your hard work. Thanks. Okay, the next on the agenda is 9F. Do I have a motion to approve a public relations and marketing expenditure of $1,000 for the 4th of July 2022 parade and after party at Grennan Heights?
So moved.
Second.
I want to amend that motion.
Go ahead.
I'm just waiting for Margaret, so she's ready. The amendment should read, move to approve a public relations, I'm only changing the number, Margaret. Move to approve a public relations and marketing expenditure of $2,000 for the 4th of July 2022 parade and after party at Grennan Heights.
Second it.
Oh, do we have a first?
Okay.
Yeah, she moved.
Margaret, would you call the roll?
All set? Okay.
Or are we
discussing?
going to discuss
That's
it?
what I was about.
Oh, we want to discuss it?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Joe McCullough.
I'm fine with the total expenditure.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I said I have no discussion on
It's $2,000 amendment.
it. It's a total, the parade plus the after party is $2,000?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand what you mean, so, yes, okay. So, do you have any comments, Trustee Schoenfeld?
If I get a chance, that includes decorating the van, buying shirts, giving out prizes, and whatever other prizes we give out at Grennan Heights. Right, okay.
Trustee Schoenfeld, any comments?
Yes, I think we should go back to $1,000 because of the pandemic.
In the past, we have spent 2,000 when we have done both the parade and the after party. The parade itself was 1,000 last year because they only had the parade. I feel we need more than that because we have prizes. This is our biggest enterprise of the year to public relations wise. I mean, we get people all over they're all coming to our booth. They're all congratulating us for what we do at the parade, and to cut it short and say, no, you can only use $1,000 because that's last year. Do you want us to do Grennan Heights also or not?
We did a fabulous job last year.
On the parade, not Grennan Heights, because they didn't have Grennan Heights last year. Please get your facts straight.
Trustee Olson?
Yeah, you need more money than we spent last year. I mean, that's a given, right? We spent 1,000 last year, Sasha? Now we have another marketing opportunity and a fun day to be with the community. So important. Yes, we need this extra money for Grennan Heights.
Thank you, Trustee Keene. Yes, there is inflation going on. Things cost more. As some other trustees have said, we did not participate in the after party last year because there was not one. So to consider having the same amount of money this year for 2 events that we used for 1 event last year is nonsensical, because it's nonsensical. You can't spend the same amount on one thing and spread it out to 2 things when there is also lots of inflation going on. So we do see a lot of people, I would imagine, at Grennan Heights and in the parade that we don't see on a regular basis, people that we can't reach every day. This is a great opportunity to have ourselves seen in a big, fun way. And I think we should take that opportunity.
Okay. The event at Grennan Heights is huge, but it does include a large majority of people who don't even live in our library district. They come from all around to participate. So that's definitely a reason for the large numbers. And you can see the streets are filled with they're not just residents.
Right, but
People
you don't
would
have to
sit
be a
in front of
resident
my
to use the
house
library.
that didn't even live in the suburbs. So we do draw a lot of people, but they're not
That can
in our
use the library.
And I guess what you're saying then, Sasha, is you would need $1,000 for your giveaways at the park?
Or are you thinking from the extra from the 1,000?
You need an additional $1,000 for your giveaways at the park.
I did not say the 2,000.
I said 2,000.
Oh,
We said it.
because I'm trying to understand.
Because from what I understand in the past,
If
we
I
have.
could speak, and then when I'm done, you could talk all you want, please.
Yes, follow your own directions.
Exactly.
So Sasha, what I'm thinking of is, I know last year the parade was really well received. It was done up really elaborately. So I'm trying to understand, I know there's T-shirts involved, but I think that was even probably the smaller purchase compared to everything else that went into it. And I'm wondering if there is a way to cut back on maybe the parade to account for whatever it is you'll be doing at the park. Now, I know you set up a table. I thought it was to give things away. I'm sure it's also, sign up for a library card or whatever's possible and let them know what our programs are. But I don't know what the cost would be, and do we want to add another 1,000 for that? That's, I'm trying to put value on the money and where it's going.
So, as it was said, the last year there was 1 event. The budget was, I did ask, I believe, for 2,000. It was cut down to 1,000. So within $1,000, we had to use the budget to organize literally the most elaborate, most talked about in a positive way, 4th of July participation we've ever had. And I've been doing the parade, for many, many, many years. I don't know anything about balloons, just got it done crazy in a positive way. So we have a really, really good concept for this the wheel to see if they can get a prize. They play the Lozo bucket. And we are very, very, very popular on that day. I would say probably the most popular. So I would need, and I think, Trustee King is right about the inflation of prices and prizes and stuff. I'm not even planning on buying things with our name on it. I want to go to Oriental Trading and just have little tchotchkes so that, if you win the Lozo bucket, you get something that you could take home with you and kind of continue that fun aspect of the day. Now, who's a resident, who's not, I mean, none of us really here, I don't know, you know what I mean?
Oh, there's nothing you can do about it, I just wanted to make that point. There are many
So,
people.
I don't know, but what I do know is that we provide top of the line parade participation. It is the number one community event where, everyone sees us, you know what I'm saying? So, and people stay for the after party always. So, I didn't mention the 2,000, but what I can speak to is I do need more than 1,000 to make it happen.
So if you were to get 2,000 and you had prizes left over, they could go to the youth or children's department for their use too.
Right, I don't know if necessarily
I
from reading in particular, but anytime we have leftover, we have.
Well, I think they have an inventory of small prizes for, is that correct? Yes, so if we were to, yeah. So it wouldn't be a total waste, it would be, no. So.
And the reason that it was 1,000 on the agenda is because you wanted to ask for 15? Or no?
Wait, there are dollar amounts on the agenda?
Yeah.
It was 1,000 last year.
Oh,
But
Oh, why?
in the budget, you wanted more than 1,000 because you were thinking of Grennan Heights.
So it's 1,500 is what I put in that for.
So Sasha, would the 500 go to for Grennan Park, and it would still cost 1,000 for the parade?
I would think so. We do want to incorporate the balloons again. That was the biggest hit, like I said, I've ever seen. For us, and I mean, I had people, at the village, email me and say, like, you guys are the best. So when you get the
It was incredible, yeah.
throughout, you want to kind of do top that, the next year. And I'm not asking for fireworks or anything like that.
I
But
understand.
like,
Okay.
But I'm just trying to work within the means of, what I can do.
Plus, this is positive
press.
going out to the community. We have so much negative that we need the positive.
I think, all right, are there any more comments? I think we are back to the original motion? Is
No, we had
We
a
have an
motion for the
amendment.
2,000.
it- Didn't we just vote on that?
No.
No, we did
Oh,
not.
okay.
We had a discussion.
All right, go ahead and take vote.
So we are voting on the amended motion for the 2,000, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Trustee Derblick?
I think I'd rather re-amend it. Okay, I'm going to vote no for this one.
Okay. Trustee Schoenfeld?
I'm going to say no as well.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keen?
Yes.
4 ayes, 2 nays, therefore it passes.
Okay.
2,000.
Hallelujah.
The
Thank
next
you, Joe.
item on the congratulations, and we are looking for a spectacular.
Oh my God.
Pressure's on. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
We have faith in you, buddy.
Somebody pinch me.
Do I have a motion to move, do I have a motion to go into executive session?
No, ma'am.
For
Point
the
of order.
appointment,
You are
employment,
required, if you listen to me,
compensation,
ma'am, if you
Please
listen to my
sit down,
public
sir.
comments Or read the text that I give you. You are required as a
Sir,
Robert's
please
Rule
sit
of
down,
Order
sit
to
down.
ask for
Please
new
sit down,
Call
you're out of
the police.
order.
You're getting
You are
rowdy.
required to ask for new business. You are required under your
Do
own
I have a
rules.
motion?
Under your own rules,
Do I
ma'am.
have a motion to go into executive session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, discussion to fill the trustee vacancy, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or the representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more of the employees? Need a first, moving in a second?
So moved.
call the roll.
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld? Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
No.
Trustee Keen?
No.
4 ayes, 2 nays, passes.
Well, then you come back to me, correct?
No, you already, you voted.
Yes. So the answer is no.
Okay, my apologies. I am hearing things. You passed, and the answer is no. Okay, correction, that's 3 nays and 3 ayes, and therefore it does not pass, it fails.
Cindy, is the attorney here?
No, she's waiting for my text.
Okay.
So sorry, Patty.
Please let her know.
Yeah, so you're going to call for a motion to adjourn?
Or are we
other-
going to do other?
Yeah, I was going to say, we're doing
Oh,
the
God.
other-
Okay, next item on the agenda is number 11, number 12.
No. Oh, yeah, you're right, 12. I'm sorry, I looked at it incorrectly.
And just a reminder, other is the time for the trustees to make suggestions about items not on the agenda. Other is not for personal
Point of
comments,
order.
personal insults or questions, which will be ruled out of order. Thank you. So do we have, since there's not a vote, we don't need to have a motion. Trustee McCool, do you have any comments?
No comments.
Trustee Schoenfeld? No comments. Trustee Rozansky?
I would like to have the hiring freeze put on the agenda for next month.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Olson?
The same idea. I would like to see it, but this time I would like to see, here, right now, if you agree with that or not. Mr. President, I'm talking to
Okay,
you.
the part of the board meeting, we
Yeah, are
need
you
keep
going
in
to
mind,
allow
We
it?
don't ask questions, okay? It's just if you want to make a comment, we'll move forward.
Even
Trustee
under
Keen?
other, I don't get to do this.
No.
We follow the same board meeting procedures for all the agenda items. Do you have anything, are there any other items or any other comments? you wanna
Yeah, as our people in the audience were calling for new business, why is there no line for new business?
make? Again, this isn't a question and answer session. I believe that matter was handled at another time. But is there anything else you'd like to add, Trustee Olson?
She can't ask.
I'm sorry, we're talking about following procedures and talking about other items on the agenda. We can't, it's not a question and answer session. Any other
On
comments?
the next month, then I would like to discuss how we get through to you through point of order. How, we would like, I would like a discussion
I will
what
do
point
that.
of order means to the rest of you.
Okay, I will send you the description of point of order. I will explain it in an email. Okay, is that
Yeah.
acceptable? Okay.
And would you read it?
Trustee Keen?
Yeah, I'll try not to ask any questions. I just have some comments. One was already brought up during public comment. I was going to just clarify that 2 checks were signed last month for legal fees, even though we don't just sign checks willy-nilly, but apparently we do sign expensive ones from lawyers without a second thought because the people who signed them didn't pay attention and figure out that we were paying them twice. That did happen. Luckily, we caught that, and the second check was voided in time to not actually pay them twice. Following up with the things that we asked to have on the agenda, as other trustees have just said, I wanted to say that I did ask our president twice in the last week or 10 days to put the following on today's agenda. I asked it to put on the agenda, lift the hiring freeze, hire Lauterbach and Amen for the audit, and to authorize the executive director to search for a firm to help us with a strategic plan. Her response via email was, "These items have previously been discussed." So it seems that since we have talked about them already, they can't be put on the agenda again.
That's not true.
And that, I guess in her mind, that means we don't need to consider it anymore, but that's
I'll
not
send
how
her
the
the
rest of
rules
us
for
feel.
that.
That's kind of like the rebate.
Excuse me, this
Or
isn't a
abatement.
conversation. Could we just get through
Thank
Trustee
you,
Keen's
please.
comments and then
Uh,
we'll move on?
Yes.
So what is worse to me, actually, and was offensive to me, was a quote that I found at the end of the email that's like automatically put into the signature of President Derblick's email, and it reads, "Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, to all the people you can, as long as you can." I don't know, is it a joke? Because you're not doing any good in this library. So to put that in your email
Trustee Keen
is
Adams, you're out
disgusting.
of order. Are
That's
you
her
finished with your
opinion.
comments?
That is
And I'm
her
gonna keep
opinion.
on
You're out of order.
That
This
may
is time
be-
for our opinions.
Anyone
Point
can
of order
see,
because,
anyone
you know,
can see
it
that what you're
doesn't work.
doing is not good. And my last comment also was mentioned during public comment. It's about the PAC decision, that's Public Access Counselor, on 5/17 yesterday, was regarding personal emails being used for board business. Kleinthorpe and Jenkins, our lawyer, said that we don't have to disclose personal emails or text messages, and that was deemed not right by the PAC, and here's what they said. Under the library's narrow interpretation, meaning our library lawyers, elected officials could conceal records documenting how they conducted their public duties by simply electing not to use their public body's electronic devices, email accounts, and record-keeping systems. That happens all the time around here. FOIA cannot reasonably be construed as giving elected officials the opinion to withhold communications concerning public business simply because the communications are maintained on personal email accounts and do not involve a quorum of the public body's members. To conclude otherwise would be to determine that it is permissible for elected officials to communicate on behalf of the public body they represent in secret. Dramatic pause. So long as they use personal devices and accounts and do not copy a sufficient number of their fellow members. Sounds very familiar. The final determination was, this office requests that the library ask the trustees to perform additional searches of their personal accounts and devices for any, any responsive communications pertaining to library business within the specified time period. And this particular investigation was about the email sent from Steve Assell to President Derblick's personal email. So I'm sure you, when you check your emails, it's in our emails on the board that you are going to be requested for this information. So this past year with our current officers, minus the vice president, we have been on a winding, very crooked road with questionable lawyers, questionable accountants, videographers, torn up budgets, and degradation of staff by banning hiring. It is a ban on staffing. This is not a temporary hiring freeze. Temporary, it means short. Freeze means it will melt or stop. Those things have not happened in 12 months. You have banned the staff. It's like worse than book banning, I don't know, but a ban is a ban. I'm glad for one thing, the end of your crooked road is coming into sight.
Thank you. If there aren't any more comments, do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting at 9:54 p.m.?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Margaret, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keen?
Yes.
6 ayes, passes.